I'm a nobody, baby. Light me up, pour me up, I'm gone. Got me seeing genies in a bottle. Liquor got me feeling like a wrestler. Call me Santiago. Everyone listen when I speak. Don't know shit about shit, but I know ball.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Two Nobodies with the Mic, episode 132. Guys, we are live on YouTube. We are live on Instagram. This is a community event here. So please talk your shit, get in the group chat, let us know, how fat we are, how dark we are, whatever it is, man. We all about having some fun and talking some shit. Let's get into the introductions. Eddie Money, center of the screen, executive producer. What up, man?
What's up? What's up?
How's life?
Pretty good for now. I think this is our biggest show so far. Looking
Yeah, man.
forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. In the dark in the corner over here, we have national champ, starting center for the St. John Bosco Braves, D1 athlete. Did beat Mater Dei. Did beat Mater Dei to win a natty and a state champ. We always got to bring that up. So CJ, what up, man? How's life?
It's great, man. I mean, never imagined I would be sitting on this show next to somebody that's wearing the colors of the team in red.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So you guys all know Rafa, the guru. He knows all. He sees all. He displayed Michael Vick is center stage for you, right? How do you like that?
Mike Vick, baby.
Mike Vick.
He's sucking up already. That's what it is.
Listen.
Go ahead.
Okay. He's up there for different reasons tonight, Ryan. He's up there for different reasons.
Okay. Well, Ryan Holmes, obviously the journalist who makes this show more credible. Actually, commentator on ESPN. He runs Intermat Wrestling, has a podcast, Athlete to Athlete. Go check him out. Ton of great content all the way from Austin, Texas. And Ryan, I hate to always bring this up, but if Larry Holmes, heavyweight champion for 6-7 years, was my uncle, I'd want someone to introduce me like that every time. So everyone, give Ryan Holmes a hand. Thank you for joining us again, Papa. Always great to have you on. And a new member and a part of the new Two Nobodies family, a mentor of mine, someone who I've known for almost 25, 30 years. Fred Lewis, successful business entrepreneur, been coaching for 40 years. Started the, and you would know this, Rafa, started the SCV Vikings organization.
Wow.
And founder, someone at another organization said, you can't do this. He's like, oh yeah, I can, and I'll do it better. And that's who this guy is right here. Also, husband, father of two studs. One right now, defensive back at Northwestern, and one, if you guys can't tell, running back at Mater Dei Santa Ana, soon to be a Division I athlete. Excited to see him do his thing with the Monarchs this year. Fred Lewis, everybody, give Fred Lewis a hand. Thank you for joining us, Fred.
Thank you, guys.
What up,
pleasure.
Fred?
What up, baby? What up, baby?
Yeah, man. So, yeah, Fred and I have spoken about this. He's been wanting to come on for a while. And when we get on the phone, it's like a podcast in itself. We just talk shit. And before I know it, it's 45 minutes. I'm like, we should probably get you on the show. So now that we have you, I can't wait. Now you can get everything that you want off your chest right here out in the open for everyone to fucking see and call you bad names and talk shit about you. Ryan knows how this fucking show goes.
Hey, listen, I've been doing it for 15 years, and I came on this show, and it was like, oh, now everybody wants to talk even more shit. So I welcome it. I completely welcome it.
Good stuff.
For sure, man, for sure. So, like I said, we are the gambling show of record. We're not afraid to talk lines, predictions, but we only have one rule, one written rule on this show, CJ, can you tell everyone what this rule is?
Don't be a loser.
Don't be a loser, man. Don't be a loser. That applies to a lot of things in life. Don't be running on the court when your son wins a fucking series. Don't be gambling more money. Don't be gambling more money than you should. Don't be spending your fucking mortgage and house note and car note. If you want to play, play, right? Don't be a loser. So that is our written rule. It's actually written on the back of our shirts and shit. Unwritten rule, Rafa, I know we don't talk about people's wives.
No wives.
No wives. Wives, we try not to do politics or religion, although sometimes we do.
Oh, politics happen.
Yeah,
We don't talk about players' money and don't talk about their wives. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So
Can,
now
can I ask why Rafa is lit like he's a mob boss and like he's an extra. He's an extra in The Godfather right now. Like he got the big cigar. He's got a little bit of sunlight. I understand Richard Pryor to keep some sunshine on your face, but damn, Rafa, that's a lot, brother.
The thing is, man, I got the door open. I got then I got the sun setting on my left side, man. It's a shit show back here, dude.
How about we invest in some fucking shutters or blinds, man?
No, I can't do it.
He ran out of money. He got all them damn damn autograph helmets and shit. He ran out of money to get some lights.
There ain't none left. There ain't none left, man.
Hey, he has some bangers. He has some bangers in there. Bo Jackson's jerseys. He has some terrific jerseys in that room. But yeah, it does give off a little a menace to society vibe when they're questioning. And, you know, when he's under questioning, you know he done fucked up, right? You know he done fucked up. So guys, that's the only rule. Every week we start out with our favorite segment, You Are Fired. We mythically or just, you know, fire someone that's been grinding your gears. We also like to go into some positivity and hire people sometimes and promote people. So if you have your hiring or firing, don't be afraid to share them with us. We'll look at the comments. We'll give you a shout out. But who wants to start with You Are Fired, man? Don't all jump at once.
I'll start us off.
All right,
I'd like to fire the Lakers.
Okay.
Whole team.
The whole team.
Yeah, it's unwatchable. You know, I'm an older guy, so I'm a Showtime Lakers fan from, you know, obviously many years ago. Kobe, Shaq Lakers. This iteration of, you know, the team I grew up watching is just unrecognizable. So I'd like to fire the entire Lakers team, not the organization, the team.
I approve. Do any of us have any prediction? Does any of us have any predictions tonight? Are they going home? Do they live another day? Do we know what's going on?
I don't
Before
know.
that, hold on. Time out. I gotta say hi to my granddaughter Mia, the light of my life. What up, Mia? Papa's right here doing it big, Mia, just for you. So let's move on. Love you. Go ahead.
I think the Lakers win tonight. But I don't
Anyone
know.
else?
I think that's it. I think they haven't played defense. They play no defense at all. There's one guy playing defense. That's it.
And who's that one guy, Rafa?
You know who it is. He's 40.
Yeah.
The guy leads the playoffs in steals and blocks. The entire playoffs. And he's fucking 40. Bro, he played 46 minutes the other night. That was ridiculous. At the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, when I looked at the score, I said, and I told everybody in the group chat, Lakers are losing. Because LeBron's already played 41 minutes. And Luke had already played 41 minutes. It's like the most out-of-shape player in the league, arguably, is on your team who doesn't play defense. Okay, or can't. I don't even know which one it is. It could be both. Even if he tried, he can't. And then the oldest player in the league, and he's already at 41 minutes. So he ended up like at 46 and a half minutes or whatever. It's terrible.
I feel like, should we wait for this? I want to jump in this because I have a take on this that I haven't heard from anyone. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so I agree with this. The narrative of JJ Redick playing the entire starting five the whole second half didn't make any sense to me. Now, is this? I didn't understand it. You have Vanderbilt, you have Connect, you have other guys obviously are capable and have played. Was this a shot at Rob Pelinka? Like, why hasn't anyone, like, if I build you a team and you don't, I mean, have we ever seen this? A whole starting five go the second half? Was this shot at Rob Pelinka? Like, get me something. I have nothing to work with here. Why hasn't anyone brought up Rob Pelinka? You think this was talked about before, Rafa? Do you think JJ said, I can't play anyone? I have a garbage bench and I can't play anyone. Do you think Rob Pelinka knew about this? Do you think he's pissed about this? This to me was a shot at Rob that you don't play anyone in the second half. What thoughts? Anyone have something on this?
Well,
They were up by 10 though.
They were up by 10, but you have to look at, and by the way, Dorian Finney-Smith played the entire second half. Jackson Hayes was the starter. Dorian Finney-Smith also played 41 minutes. Jackson Hayes, he needs to play because he needs to be able to guard Gobert, and it's not even about guarding him because how much scoring is he doing? It's about being able to rebound against him down there, make it a little tougher on him. So he had Dorian Finney-Smith, who ended up with 41 minutes off the bench. They had 6 points. And the thing I don't understand is, why is Dalton Connect now playing? Is it because he can't play defense? Because guess what? Nobody else can. So who gives a shit? Throw him out there. Let him play. You had 6 points off of the bench. You had 6 points off the bench. Minnesota had 25. In game 3 that you lost, you had 16 turnovers. Lakers had the T-Wolves had 8.
And guess what requires to play defense? Energy. Energy. These guys were dead. Their legs were dead. We'll get into it a little bit later. I just haven't heard anyone bring up Rob Pelinka. I would be pissed if I was him. So who wants to go next? Firing approved, Fred.
Go ahead, CJ. Give it a go.
Luke said he's
I'm gonna
fighting
hide.
the NBA. They can't figure their shit out. NHL rules of spring, but that is in complete opposition to my hiring. I'm hiring the
Go ahead.
NBA actually. All the games, the series have been great. A lot of them, like 1 to 2 possession games. That Pacers game last night, insane. I think the Pacers came back like 20, ended up OT. Halliburton with the layup to win by 1. Great games all around. And we got Rockets Warriors tonight, and then the Lakers Timberwolves, all great series.
Facts.
And the ratings are like at an all-time high for the first round. So Luke is fired for saying that firing. What the hell?
And Luke,
Luke's
Why
white.
is Luke not fired?
we do love playoff hockey. Just so
Playoff hockey's good. Playoff
It's
hockey's good. There's no doubt about it.
It's good. But it's
Who's
not
next,
bad.
man?
I'll go. I'm gonna keep it positive. I'm actually going to hire Mr. Jordan Travis, who retired today medically. It's why I'm rocking my Florida State gear.
Nice.
Jordan Travis had, obviously a crazy season-ending injury when he was at Florida State, got drafted by the Jets. But as he said in his pretty long letter that he posted today, body didn't respond to the rehab or anything else. So my first thought was honestly is Mike Norvell should be on the phone to Jordan Travis to get him onto staff as an offensive assistant or quarterback coach or something, because he was the one that had, all morale type boosted. The game that he shattered his leg in, it was because the offense wasn't moving whatsoever. So they need some kind of boost. They got rid of a lot of the coaches from last year, brought in Gus Malzahn. So it's a completely new offense, but they're definitely going to need somebody that just like starts the fire. And I think bringing back an alumni like Jordan Travis on the staff now that he's retired would be what Florida State certainly needs, because you saw what happened once his injury happened. Everything has just been shitty when it comes to Florida State. So I'm hiring Jordan Travis and bringing him back to Florida State now that he's not with the Jets.
Approved. I didn't see that. I did not
Yeah, it
see.
happened today.
Is my mic working now? Eddie Money?
I hear you.
Yeah, you're good.
Bring it a little closer. To you.
You just sound far away from it. That's all.
Okay. It might not be on.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, CJ, you got anything?
You know me, I'm gonna get controversial because that's just what I do.
Here we go.
So I'm going to hire Saquon Barkley for
Oh,
sticking
Jesus.
to his guns and absolutely not giving two shits what anybody has to say about him respecting the office of the presidency. Listen, it doesn't matter who is there, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Rock, it doesn't matter. The fact that you can go and respect the office of the president, regardless of who's in office, regardless of how you think, regardless of where you are, I give credit to Saquon Barkley and says, look, politics is not the whole of my life. I'm just going to meet the president. Meeting the president is cool no matter who's the president. So I give it to Saquon Barkley.
You know what? I'm right there with you, man. You know, I would love to go meet the president. No matter, I would love to see the White House. You know, I don't have a problem with it doing it. Yeah, this country's way too divided as it is, and yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I approve that. I approve that hiring.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna do something here early that I told you I might not do, because some things I just can't resist. I do think that there is an inherent respect. I know we're trying to minimize politics here, but Rafa said it happens. So this hiring just prompted a conversation. The office is to be respected. The individual holding the office is owed no respect. And in this particular instance, to hire Saquon Barkley necessarily means that you're firing Jalen Hurts, which I am absolutely not about to do. The divider in chief can't be the one standing up talking about how divided the country is. So Jalen taking the stand that he took was necessary when you've got somebody going out of their way to, if not erase, to significantly diminish the contributions of Black people in this country and our history. And so for that reason alone, I'm not saying I'm firing Saquon, but I'm definitely not celebrating somebody who did something that serves his personal interests over the interests of an entire culture. And to be clear, hanging out and playing golf and all that is about your personal benefit, has nothing to do with respecting the office. And so you put yourself ahead of what I believe is a more important issue. And so I would not hire him in the context that means on this podcast.
All right. Listen, this is what this show's about. We ain't afraid to talk about shit. We ain't afraid to disagree. Anyone want to rebut that? Or is that the last word?
Luke said freezing cold take.
Freezing cold take. I disagree with everything that you said. It's fine. We are in a country where it is amazing that we can disagree. And so I respect everything you just said. As a Black man just like you, I disagree with everything you just said. I don't care who's the president of the United States. I voted for Joe Biden in 2020. I voted for Donald Trump in 2024. I am the most nuanced voter in the country, and I do not care who's the president. I've served in the military in a stint, and I do not care who's the president is. If I can meet the president of the United States, the most powerful position in the history of the world, I'm going to get an opportunity to do that. And, that's that.
If the president had done something that was directly against the interest, do you have kids?
I'm 22 now.
Oh, okay. All right. So
TJ,
I sense your perspective. I'm nearly 60. I sense your perspective will change when you have kids. When you then are able to connect behaviors of a particular president, because the office doesn't make the decisions, right? The individual does. So when you are able to connect the decisions of an individual to the direct adverse interest of your own kids, meeting somebody who sits in that seat won't be what leads. It's going to be about the impact that person's decisions, policies, philosophies, etc., particularly when you do it through executive orders as he's done it so heavily, that's what I think you're going to reflect on. My perspective is not just the impact it has on me. Tariffs hurt my business, blah, 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 blah. This thing with respect to Jalen Hurts and why we're talking about Saquon because he's a black football player, right? Nobody's saying anything about
an NFL football player. I don't really care what his race is.
But the criticism, you hiring him, there was a whole bunch of people there. You didn't say I want to hire the Eagles. You said
No,
you
but
want to hire
Saquon Barkley is ahead of the media criticism for being around
Why?
Donald Trump. That's why I centered him out.
Why?
He
Because
was Saquon was the whole story. Like
right, exactly.
He was the whole story.
Because there's a difference between the
Rhetorical
whole
question.
team going and you going solely like the day before playing golf and the extras, right? You can have you can have respect for whoever, but it's very different is what I think he's trying to say is having respect for the office is very different than having respect for the person. Right?
Yeah, but
like,
everything. Okay, I'm gonna let you. Everything he just said, he's insinuating that I disagree with what's happening by the president. That's my problem. Is that you're insinuating or assuming that I have an issue with what's going on right now in the White House. That's my issue. Is
No,
I
don't
think
agree.
he's saying he disagrees with it.
No, but he's saying once I have children, I'm going to change my perspective. I don't think so because I have a certain way of thinking. That's different.
You may not, but I can tell you that my perspective being a father is different than my perspective being a 22-year-old single man.
Sure.
And so I'm saying that as you, I'm not, age attacking you. I was 22 myself. I'm simply saying that, but I am saying that your perspective is likely going to change.
Sure.
As you get older, and most particularly as you have children. Because it will not be about you and what you feel personally. It's 100%. Going to be about the impact of people who aren't making the decisions, right? My 17-year-old can't vote yet, right? And so if decisions that look to eradicate the history of our people in this country and the impact that we've had, and economic sanctions on colleges that have an adverse impact disproportionately on African American students, you're shaking your head. These are facts. I'm not.
Hold on.
What I'm saying is that when you understand that, then your perspective is different when you're looking at how it impacts your kids as opposed to how it may or may not have any impact on you today.
I would love to have you on Yapping, but.
Are you referring to the DEI deal? Is that what you're referring to?
Well, I'm referring to a host of policies that are in the adverse interest of African American people. So, whether the problem is that, and to be clear, I'm an independent. All right, so I don't want anybody to think I'm on here as far left liberal. I'm not that. I'm not a far right. I sit right in the middle, and I do not now, nor have I ever voted based on D's and R's. I could care less, right? Quite frankly, if Mitt Romney had run, he would have had my vote, right? Because I think he's a more centrist Republican who's going to have sound fiscal principles. But I'm talking about a president whose agenda, because you brought up this, I wasn't going to talk politics at all, but since you brought it up, I can't let it go. A president who is clearly looking to eradicate the positive impact that our history has had on this country, building it, and policies that have an adverse impact disproportionately on African American students. I've got a son at Northwestern. You threaten to take away $197 million of Northwestern's funding because you don't like what they do as an independent private school. I'm saying those things matter. And when you have kids who those types of policies directly and adversely impact, then you can't sit back and go, because it's the office, I just want to go meet the person. I can meet the person 4 years from now.
Because the kids are black.
What's that?
You're insinuating that those policies are put in place to the schools because the students are black, and that's not the case.
No. I'm talking about
and you're referring to a
funding
president.
adversely.
Okay.
And you're talking about a president that gave more money than any other president to HBCU colleges, which are historically black colleges. That also is a thing. But anyways, let's get to Saquon.
Yeah.
I believe that Saquon, and I'm not sure, but I thought he said this, he was just there to play golf. He didn't know that the president was there playing golf. And it turned out, hey, I'm going to the White House. You're coming. Get on the plane. Let's go. That's what happened. I think you're trying to make it seem like Saquon was kind of kissing his ass to play golf with him. And I don't think that's what happened. And you can look it up. But I think Saquon.
I didn't make it seem like anything because I haven't.
Ryan did.
I didn't bring this up. I'm simply saying there's a reason that Jalen Hurts opted out. And so to hire Saquon seems to indicate that you would then fire Jalen. And I'm saying I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
I'm not insinuating anything. I hired Saquon. I'm not firing anybody.
We have a Puerto Rican, a Mexican, a Cuban, a black dude, and a Choctaw Indian.
Don't goes gang, guys. I thought I was the one that made things.
And y'all wondering why I decided to cover sports all my life.
Yeah,
I love it, Ryan. Listen, I'm firing. I was gonna fire Jalen, but we can't because we already did that. So
Jalen had a haircut appointment.
I'm gonna fire JJ Redick, man. We already fired the Lakers. I'm firing JJ because he's done nothing with his bench. He's adjusted nothing, and he took out him not playing Jackson Hayes for the rest of the game. Supposedly, I don't know that Jackson Hayes was hurt. There's rumors going around that he was so pissed off at Jackson Hayes that he decided to bench him for the rest of the game. Who knows how true that is? If it's true, it's stupid because JJ to me had done a good job all year long. And now he's just he's gone away from everything that got him to this point. And Pelinka, Eddie, you're right. He should be talked about, but not for the reason, like people think, oh, they brought in Luka and all of a sudden they're title contenders. No, because the rest of the team is not built around Luka's, weaknesses because he plays no defense. That Mavs team last year was built around Luka's weaknesses with the exception of Kyrie, obviously, but everyone else could defend and rebound the ball. Things that Luka can't do.
But even Kyrie was a better defender than Luka.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding?
Oh, yeah.
And if you watch the Mavs all playoffs last year, the first 3 quarters was the Luka show. And at the end, when you needed something, it was Kyrie who'd have 12 in the fourth, 8 in the fourth, 10 in the fourth, and put games away, basically. And you can't do that when you're the best player on the team right now. And the other guy who can kind of play in the fourth quarter is 40 fucking years old. And he's already at 40 plus minutes halfway through the fourth. So that's happening.
100% firing approved. Let me finish this off, guys. I have so many candidates, right? On the way back from golf last Sunday, listening to the Laker game, I was just tortured by listening to the worst broadcast on radio I've maybe ever heard in my entire life. And if you're not from the Southern California area, the tradition that Los Angeles sports has is one like no other, like the Masters. You had 3 of the best color commentators of all time. You had Chick Hearn, right? Was very would call a game, would call out bad plays, good plays. Just was not a homer. You have Bob Miller for the Kings, legendary announcer. Vince Scully, the GOAT, was the epitome of non-biased announcing, and would you didn't have to see the game. You could hear the game and see what's going on, and then tell stories about opposing players and go into their history. What I heard on Sunday with John Ireland and Michael Thompson was 2 homers that sounded like they had their mortgage on the Lakers. One guy was saying they're tired. Why hasn't he taken it? Michael Thompson said they're not tired. I'm driving. I'm like, are they tired? Are they not tired? John Ireland said game over with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. I have to go on my phone. I'm like, wait, there's 3 minutes left. Like there has to be, if you get a job like that, and Ryan, you actually call sports, you cannot show, you don't know who's listening. You cannot show bias like that. It is the most infuriating thing in the world, and I know they do it now. Like you on TNT, you can listen to the Lakers broadcast or the Knicks. Just give me the game. Tell me what you see. Tell me something I don't know. Don't tell me, Michael Thompson, if they get 3 stops here, they're going to win. What? What? I don't need to know your opinion if they get 3 stops in a row. What are you doing now? It was wild. It was wild, and I voted down. Had to be fired. Had to be done, especially in the city where you had 2 of the best, 3 of the best. You know, and
my question is, was it a Lakers broadcast or was it like an independent broadcast?
No. It's the
Because
Lakers. They're the Lakers play-by-play on the radio. They are awful.
it is.
John Ireland and Michael Thompson, bro, it is the
Michael Brown.
worst. Bro, it is the worst shit you can listen to. I'll never forget the first time that John Ireland got that job, and I heard that shit on the radio. It was the worst thing I'd ever. I was like, this guy's terrible, and he hasn't improved. I think it's been like 8 or 9 years. He's awful.
It's really bad.
I'll never say that I'm like the best or the most seasoned or whatever else. But yeah, I mean, it is tough for me to be, and Eddie, you can attest to this because literally I've covered your son. That's how we met.
Yeah.
And as you become like better friends with a lot of people, it's tougher to call matches and it's tougher to not have that bias. But I will say, you know, in my own defense, like when I'm on shows, podcasts, stuff like that, when there's when I'm talking about somebody that I know, I'm probably harder on them. And I actually said that once on a show. I was talking about Sammy Sasso, who wrestled at Ohio State. And I was like, I've known him since he was in 8th grade. I'm going to be probably more critical on him because I know him personally. He's from my hometown than I would be, you know, somebody who I didn't know. Right. And I had, you know, the guys that I used to work, they're like, you can't say that. I'm like, the hell I can. Like, it's a respect thing. Like this is what he expects from me. 1, but like 2, like you do have to have some, you know, take your bias out of it, right? Like you may be calling the team that you're employed by, or it is a Lakers broadcast, whatever else. But like people are tuning in to this broadcast to know what the hell is going on, not to get 3 more stops and this game is over.
Okay.
Like allow things to kind of develop.
But
And these comments are hilarious.
The reason I disagree is because I feel like the Lakers or the team's own broadcasting is so much more exciting. Like, do you remember when Auburn took back the kick 6 and they're like, Auburn's gonna win the football game. Auburn's gonna win the football. That
That's
came
different.
from Auburn.
That's different.
It's completely different.
How's it different? Because it's a broadcast.
It's different
No.
because college is different. You have
I'm saying even when I watch like the Minnesota Vikings, they're on broad. I like the opinion. I like the own fans, basically fans of the game or fans
but
of
you
the
have
team.
you have options. You have when you're watching the Vikings game, when you're watching the
Uh-huh.
NFL or college football, most of those are national broadcasts anywhere, right? Here on the radio, we only have the one broadcast, which is the Lakers
I get what you're
broadcast,
saying.
and it's just awful.
I get what
It
you're
really
saying.
is. Now, if I would have had the choice of ESPN or whatever, then fine, be fucking homers. But they're on ESPN radio,
Yeah.
and
Gotcha.
it is
So
awful.
they're on ESPN. They're not
It-
on. It wasn't like a Lakers broadcast.
I think
It's
probably,
a Lakers broadcast.
I think it's probably
It's-
like that in most local, you know, the local broadcast, which
It
every
is.
team has.
It is.
I mean, who was more of a homer than Heinsohn was calling Celtics? I mean, you know, I mean, that was about as bad as I've ever seen it. And by the way, Chick, I agree with you, Eddie, was one of the great all time in any sport. Right? We've had a lot of them here. Scully, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But it's not like Chick wasn't a homer.
He was.
I mean,
but he would call out shit. He was a homer. He knew the inside, but he knew probably way too much. But
Yeah. Stu
was
was worse, but Chick was still a homer. Yeah, Stu was for sure a homer, right?
Stu
Oh,
was
yeah.
the biggest fucking homer. Are you
Yeah,
kidding?
he was right.
Dude,
Yeah, the
I think
Lakers. Yeah,
Stu after
no
every
foul
game-
ever committed by a Laker.
No.
Every foul
Yeah.
committed
Yeah.
against the Lakers. Yeah,
Kobe did no wrong. When Stu was on the radio or on television, Kobe never made a mistake ever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I just want to say these
Never.
guys aren't the first LA homers we've seen. Is all I'm saying. It's as bad
It's
as I
been here a
agree it
long
may have
time.
been, Eddie.
Fred, they're telling me the game's over. I had to go on my phone and make sure that the broadcast and the time. I'm like, wait, there's 3 minutes and they're down by 3. And John Iron's like, this game's over. So
Yeah.
what do we got here? What the chat?
The
is going
comments are
crazy, man.
ridiculous.
These
Yeah,
comments
the
have been
ridiculous.
hilarious so
Let's
far.
see some comments. Put some comments up. Let's
Michael Brown goes, Why are the black dudes on the bottom messed up, fellas?
That's
Michael,
right.
I can't agree more. This is
That
not
was
what-
Michael. That was
what
pointed out when we came on, and there was no change to any of it before we went live. Before you see the current setup, that was already brought up, but we were held back even more. We were kept down again.
Who
But
set
it's
this
all right.
up, by the way? Because I'm
It's all
almost
right.
sure.
But
I'm
hey, it
almost
doesn't
sure
matter
it's
because
Tuesday.
we all get to go to the White House and hang out. And play golf.
There you go. There you go.
There we
I
are.
love it. Let me.
And then Luke with the infamous Bosco chant at modern day games.
They're
They're
rich. They're gay. They go to modern day.
Oh
They're
my
rich,
god!
they're
They're
gay.
rich. They're gay. They go to
Oh
modern day.
my god.
Wow.
boy.
Oh my
Wow.
god! That's an
Wow,
actual thing, huh?
Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pervite,
Yeah.
Pervite, they're rich, they're gay, they go to modern day, modern gay, they
Oh
we all
my
got
God,
all
all
that
right,
good shit.
all right.
We're gonna
all
get
I'm
into
sure
that.
they
We're gonna
got
get-
just as bad ones for us. I don't want to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
We're gonna get into that. Let me
Hey,
finish
to-
off. Go ahead.
Are you gonna you might fire the same person? I wanna come back with a firing, and I think it's probably gonna be the same one that you want. Is Tyrese Halliburton's dad?
I was gonna go there next,
What do you
but
do?
go ahead and talk about it, Ryan.
I mean,
Eddie and Ryan are one mind.
Yes.
I think at this point we are, because I wanted to talk about this because I saw it this morning, and I saw, I mean, as you see on Twitter, there's always going to be certain context that people try and put out there. Somebody tried to say that Giannis went over and confronted him or whatever else. That's absolute bullshit. Like the fact that this man was left standing is a miracle, because Giannis having that type of restraint from not killing that man and strangling him with the towel with his son's face on it is nothing short of incredible. You don't come on the court. I mean, you guys are dads. You guys have you watch your sons compete for a very long time. I mean, I'm sure you've gotten a little bit vocal sometimes, whatever else, but like, you got to be positive, man. Like, at no point should he be coming onto the court to celebrate stuff like that, to even talk to another player. Like I said, he is very lucky, and honestly, fans of the NBA are extremely lucky, today's fans, because they don't have to worry about Ron Artest or any of these guys who would have knocked him clean out on the court. It wouldn't have even been a thing. He would have stepped 1 foot in front of him and would have been on his back. So horrible. He's got to be fired. I don't think he should be. I mean, I'm sure that you guys have seen how the Cavs are doing them, control your dad t-shirts at the Cavs game. I think it's amazing.
That's funny as fuck.
I'm hoping that it was real. Maybe I was duped or whatever. I just saw a quick post as I was scrolling on Twitter earlier, but he needs to be fired. He needs to take a couple games off, watch from a booth. Don't be courtside, watch from home. Just take it down for just a little bit.
But the fact that Rafa, did you see, like, he's like a foot shorter and he's trying to go forehead to forehead with Giannis. The fact that security allowed that is nuts. The fact that that you did it to Giannis, probably the most gracious and respectful NBA player on the planet. The guy is
NBA champion on the planet.
Yeah. He's so respectful and such a thoughtful guy. And he said it, I would never disrespect anyone like that. And, someone said that, I guess Tyrese Halliburton was voted as most overrated player in the NBA. By the way, that was voted on by the players, which is crazy. Which is kind of weird that you would even put that out to the players. But
it's the same thing with the NFL. Josh Allen was most overrated in the NFL too. So
that's
and
wild.
He won the MVP.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wild.
Halliburton's dad, to do it to Giannis, he should understand. Forget that Giannis is great and this and that. Last year, when Giannis put up 64 against them, and that was his career high, they took the ball into the tunnel. Giannis ran into that tunnel against the Pacers, and there was a whole fucking ordeal with it. So there's already bad blood with Giannis and the Pacers. And then now you got the old man sitting there courtside like John Moran's dad, basically, and fucking just, it's totally.
I totally forgot about that, Rafa. I totally forgot about that. So,
but Tyrese said it last night though, that after the game, that his dad was in the wrong.
Yes, props to Tyrese. He did come out and said my dad was completely
Yeah, he said
wrong.
He said it right after. I'm sure
Yeah,
he apologized to Giannis and all that.
Yeah,
they said that they talked.
Yeah, kudos. And listen, crazy dads. We're gonna talk about that. By the way, this is the longest.
Eddie said you've done worse.
The bullshit.
You slammed the ref at the wrestling tournament.
Bullshit.
Have you been worse, Eddie?
No. My wife.
I've seen it. He ran on the mat at Doc B. It was horrible.
No, he didn't. Did he really?
No.
Did he really? No.
No, never.
My
Never.
wife, even worse, right? At Iron Man, my wife ran out onto the mat because they disqualified Sonny for getting a concussion. He was the number 2 seed, was going to wrestle Alvarez in the finals.
I was there for that.
He was winning 11-3. This kid from Allen, Texas, headbutted him. Sonny got up, and this was his year. Kind of stumbled.
I was there for that.
The ref said no. Shanae ran out. She's like, no. My son's gonna win Iron Man. Fuck. Like, he's fine. He's fine, everybody. He's fine. I'm like, oh, my wife is fucking crazy for that shit. Crazy. So my wife's the crazy one. Last firing. Okay, last firing, and we're gonna get into that, Michael Brown. And not to get into a more serious tone, but this does have to do with fans and they think they have the right just to, because you bought a ticket, to talk shit. That's why I didn't have a problem with Rory taking that guy's phone. But my last firing is a Cleveland friend, and if you guys saw this story, Jarren Duran, center fielder for the Red Sox. 3 years ago, there was a Netflix special, and he came out and talked about him having some mental issues, and actually tried to commit suicide, and came out. And we want men to talk about this. And he came out and talked about it, was very brave and talked about it. And during a game last week, a fan who was sitting front row for the Cleveland Indians, we call them Indians here, said, why don't you just go die? Or said something to that thing. And I had to bring it up because I'm really tired of fans, let alone fathers. But fans,
you should have killed yourself when you had the chance.
Yeah,
I think that was the exact quote.
Yeah, like I don't care how many beers you've had. I don't care if you paid $10,000 for that ticket. I don't care who the F you think you are. That man should never be allowed, and let alone a baseball stadium, a venue. Like, that is the most disgusting shit I've ever heard in my life. And I'm glad the Indians addressed it, apologized. But shame on you if you're that guy. If you're that guy that feels you can talk shit because you bought a $2,000 ticket and you're going to get it under someone's skin, and look at me, you're going to get your 5 seconds of fame. That is the epitome of this show's rule. Don't be a loser. You are a fucking loser, and you are not allowed on the show, and you're never going to be allowed in a baseball fucking field again. So that is your fired, everybody. 43 minutes long, record breaking. You're fired. I love it.
Can we address real quick Zach's fucking firing, which he's been talking about since Thursday, and it's the stupidest fucking thing ever?
What is it?
That he wants to fire the Jaguars for trading up to draft Travis Hunter.
Okay.
If anybody should be fired, it should be the Browns.
So let's get into it. That is our next segment. And I agree with you, Ryan. We are going to talk some NFL draft, and there's a lot to talk about. But Eddie Money, direct us. What are we talking about?
So, going to do a big NFL draft recap, but just to start off, we wanted to give a shout out to the Trinity League, since we are all tied to it somehow.
Trinity.
In the top 8 picks, we had 2 Servite alumni go. We had Mason Graham at number 5, go to the Browns, and Tatoria McMillan, number 8, to the Panthers. So shout out them. We also had 2 Bosco players, undrafted free agents, DJ to the Chargers, and Bo Collins to the Giants.
Jude Wolf as well.
Oh, yeah, Jude Wolf got invited to the Commanders or the Washington Redskins minicamp. So wish them all the most success in their professional careers.
If you don't know, the Trinity League and Southern California high school football, Ryan from Pennsylvania, which I have some respect for Pennsylvania football.
They got some good teams in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is like
and Joe's Prep.
Yeah. It's just, Dan Marino, linebacker. That's the state of linebackers, right? But I'm sorry, SoCal is king. Trinity League is king. Fred, your son just transferred over to Modern Day. Talk a little bit about how the exposure, and you played at a big high school. You played at Oaks Christian last year. You did TO, two very respected programs.
100%.
But in a hotbed of football, how different is it to go to the Trinity League? Like what opportunities can you explain, real quick, just how different it is?
Yeah, it's well, I can speak specifically to Modern Day and how it's different thus far, and generally speaking across the Trinity League, which is, I believe by the standards of most people in the know, it's the best league in high school football nationally. What we've experienced at Modern Day thus far has been amazing. Coaching staff has been great. It's an organized, well-oiled machine, and there is a certain way that they do things. And I think, Justin's benefiting from that. The platform speaks for itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think I need to expound upon that. But certainly as it relates to Modern Day's football program, it's just, from the quality of the lifts, a lot of schools have weight rooms. They don't all lift like I've seen happen at Modern Day. The quality of the coaches on the field, the energy, the expectations. I mean, I think so much of what you get out of players from a coach's perspective, having, coached this game for 40 years, it's what you communicate to them is expected of them.
Yeah.
And when the bar is high and everybody knows that we're not lowering the bar, you have to come elevate to it. You just necessarily elevate the entire program, right? It's the rising tide. So I've been really impressed with what I have, seen thus far, and what more importantly, Justin's communicated with me. And then the league itself, I mean, it's strong. There'll be a change with teams who are, at the bottom of the Trinity. But if you look at the teams at the bottom of the Trinity, when they go play other teams in other leagues, they're winning games. So
Yeah.
I've been very impressed thus far.
So before we move on to the draft, I'll say one last thing about this, because now Carson Palmer just took the head coaching job at Santa Margarita, who has always been very respectable, but in that league, they struggle. But this correlates, and I'm going to ask you, Rafa, because and you, Ryan, because we've talked about the Dodgers ruining baseball. And if you're in social media circles and you hear all the haters of Modern Day, Bosco, Trinity League, well, you paid for this, you paid for that. Everyone hated on the Dodgers. This is my analogy. Everyone hated. They're ruining baseball. Let's look at the NL West right now. With the 3 best records or 4 best records in baseball in one division. My point is that when you get
accurate, but go ahead.
When you get at least three.
It's 2, but
okay. Are they top 5?
15 and 14 is not even one of the, and that's what the D-backs are at.
Yeah. 50, yeah. So my point is this: people hated on the Dodgers for being so good. Look at what the Padres are doing, and look at what the Giants are doing. People hated on Bosco and Modern Day, ruining football, this and that. Look at that league. It's only risen. It's only made people get more organized, like Fred said. It's only made people lift harder. It's only made the coaching better. When you get, Alabama and these other teams have done this for the SEC. When you get a quality product and you get competitive, you want to be as competitive as those people. So that was my little thing. Like, the shit has risen. NL West, Dodgers didn't ruin baseball. It's made it better. Modern Day and Bosco has not ruined high school football. It's made it better. So, Big Vern, Texas, the Trinity League continues to go to Texas
and beat the shit out of them.
PTA.
I gotta have my 2 cents in this. I'm sorry. When you go to a school like Mater Dei and Bosco, and you have the Nick Sabans and the Urban Meyers and and all of those coaches not coming in on a monthly basis, coming in on a daily basis. I don't care how much you hate the two schools. They open up opportunities that schools like Centennial and Mission Viejo and all of those other schools do not open. So I don't care. If kids want to create opportunities for themselves and go to premier programs that are taking them to DC, Florida, Hawaii in 1 year, then I don't care. They're getting opportunities and these coaches are coming to the schools for a reason. So if you can't, manage to get there, I apologize, but don't hate.
Haters gonna hate, man. Haters.
Plus, I always
gonna
feel
hate.
I always feel like with high school kids and younger kids, even 9, 10, 11 years old, whatever. I think when you build a team that's stacked, that you get kids from here, kids from there, and you put them together, the practices have to be phenomenal because you're practicing with elite players against elite players, etc. So imagine a Bosco practice or a Mater Dei practice where you're across the field, lined up across the guy. All right, well, you're going to UCLA, I'm going to USC or Oregon or Alabama or whatever. Those are the practices.
Yes.
The practices are tougher
than the games.
Mater Dei and Boston.
Yes. 100%.
Than when they play against the other turds that they got to go up against in Hawaii or in Texas or in. Although we know Bosco got that ass tapped in
Shut
Hawaii.
up. Relax.
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 You know what I'm saying?
Relax.
They got that ass tapped. Boy.
Relax. Relax.
But anyways,
Relax.
that I'm all for that. And
Yeah.
they did it in travel baseball. They did it some years back, about 10 years ago, maybe a little less. MVP Hustle, MVP from Norwalk, San Gabriel Hustle, put a team together, put a bunch of kids. They have 2 kids right now, 2 kids at freshmen in college at TCU and LSU, who next year could be top 10 picks, all from the same team, by the way, when they were 8, 9 years old.
And just to address Zach's comment, Narbonne, for like the 5th time in my lifetime, is banned from going to the playoffs because they go through their own BS in the City League. The City League has ruined itself by not having enough coaches, by not having enough funding. It has ruined itself. You can't blame the Trinity League for Narbonne and again having issues and not being able to play in the playoffs. It's not the Trinity League's fault.
There you go. Thank you for addressing that, CJ. So back to the NFL draft. We gave Trinity League its flowers. Let's talk about some of the teams that you think had incredible drafts. Some maybe not so well. I want to save the Browns for last, though, because
that's the A+, though. That's the A+.
No.
That's what I think.
Some haters.
Let's go right into maybe let's say the Raiders. What a coincidence. Let's talk about the Raiders.
Shocker. We didn't know that was coming.
Listen, Fred has been coaching running backs for 40 years. I called Fred 4 or 5 days ago. I'm getting a ton of heat from my own people. And I'd like to know, Ryan, your opinion on this as well. I am getting so much shit on how I said I am not convinced that Ashton Jeanty is that Hall of Famer, Rookie of the Year, worth a 6th-round pick. I would much rather have went, offensive tackle from Missouri, than get Henderson or Judkins in the 2nd round. And people came after me in the DMs, man. And my question is this, and Fred did bring up a good point. It's like, Eddie, who are you to question Pete Carroll drafting a running back or even, evaluating a running back? And I'm like, good point. He's done a pretty good job with the running backs over his career. But it doesn't mean
not really.
Not really. He didn't draft Marshawn.
He didn't give Marshawn the ball on the 1-yard line either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
he don't know
How
shit.
can I trust the guy?
I didn't notice he said I questioned him questioning Pete Carroll's ability to determine the effectiveness of a running back. I didn't say anything about his play calling. That was the worst call in history. In Super Bowl history. That single call, the worst ever. Okay. But he knows running backs. He's coached phenomenal ones in college and in the league. And so if he and his staff see something in Jeanty, I'm not. Look, he's impressive. So I'm certainly not going to question it.
You know who was also impressive, who I thought was the most dynamic running back I had ever seen in college football? Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush, you cannot say had a great NFL career. Just because these Raider fan here, just because a guy puts on your colors or your jersey doesn't automatically make them Hall of Fame guys. And I know
We know
his.
that. You ain't had one in a minute, boy. Anyway,
But-
go ahead.
My point is this. I get homerism. I get the word fanatic. But these dudes are coming at me like, you're dead wrong. This guy's generational. I'm just saying, pump your brakes on Ashton Jeanty. I hope he turns out to be, Barry Sanders. I really do. I am not convinced. I am going to have my reservations still. And that's all I'm saying. I would have
That
gone.
argument doesn't make sense that he's generational because his numbers have been done before over multiple times. There's
Plus,
nothing,
it's
and,
easy.
and he was in the Mountain West too. Like
It's easy to do those numbers. See, you're gonna shit on the Mountain West now. I'm pretty sure a
No,
couple.
no,
Wait a second.
no.
Wait a second.
He
Hold
was
on.
dick riding them all
You,
year long.
you
You
stopped
remember?
me in my
Don't
tracks
do that.
on that one.
don't do that. Don't no.
You
no,
you
no.
did
I
it to
am a
yourself,
Mountain West.
CJ.
No.
You did it
no,
to
no.
yourself on that
I
one. You
am
said
simply
plus
stating the fact that the
You're
Mountain
stating a
West
fact.
is below the Power
CJ.
Four conferences.
Okay, but CJ, you remember what I do for a living. I listen to people. I'm a professional listener. The shit that you said,
Thank you.
plus
Thank
he's
you, Ryan.
How
plus he's
can
in
I
the
say
Mountain
being
West.
different
Like,
from what I
Mute
You
CJ
said-
for a second so Ryan can talk. Fuck.
listen. You said plus he's in the Mountain West. That's like you and your boy hanging out. You see a girl walk by and you're like, yeah, she all right. You're like, oh, she ain't bad then. That's exactly what you just said. Yeah, it's all right. Listen,
No.
Here's the thing. I don't think that Jeanty is generational. I don't think that he's gonna be some savior because if you look at his college numbers, he was getting how many carries did he have? That was
Exactly.
a crazy amount of carries.
340.
Right.
Yeah,
There was a
like,
game they were
so-
up 42-7, still giving him
And
the
they
ball.
kept
in
they
the
kept giving him the
fourth quarter.
ball. So he's not gonna get carries like that in the NFL. That's not gonna happen. So the fact that he can have a game where he's rushing for crazy amounts of yards is coming off of the fact that he's getting crazy amounts of carries, which isn't going to happen in the NFL. So I think that he's going to be a great running back. I certainly do. But just like we saw last year with Saquon, when Saquon had a line that could block for him, he was truly the Saquon that we saw at Penn State that was lighting it up, running down sidelines, running through people, making crazy highlights. That's going to be hard for Ashton Jeanty to do if they don't have people in there that are going to block for him, right? Like the Bears in free agency, the Bears went and got that meat up front. Pause.
Yes.
But they went and got them boys.
Thank
Full Diddy.
Thank
Full
you.
Diddy.
They went and got them boys to do what needs to be done to protect that franchise quarterback. Raiders don't have that same type of offensive line that is going to allow Ashton Jeanty to run the way that he wants to run. He can say, yes, I run through tackles, this, that, whatever. You're not running through TJ Watt. Like you're not running through those guys.
Yeah.
Like be thankful that Crosby's on your team because you're not running through D linemen like that. So it's a very different speed. So yes, certainly pump the brakes. I think he's a great addition and I think he will definitely help that offense, but unless they have a good blocking scheme to go with his running style, it's going to be tough for him because, as you said, CJ, he played in the Mountain West. You know what I mean?
No. Listen. I'm going to defend myself right here, right now. Because listen, the reality is that the Mountain West is below the Power Four conferences. I was saying that because Rafa always tried to make it seem like the Mountain West is the JV of fucking college football, and it's not. That's why I was saying. No, it's not because we have something called the FCS.
All right. Well, I thought.
I'm just
thought-
saying.
That's the freshman team.
No,
Bro, they are JV as fuck.
no,
They
they're
are
not.
JV as fuck. There was a player in that conference who won
went to
the
Boise
triple
State.
crown of receiving, and he didn't get drafted.
Nick
So-
Nash got drafted. And he should have won the Blitnikov.
And when did he get drafted?
I'm not sure.
He
No,
did.
I think he didn't.
He
He
did
did
it.
not.
He did it. Yeah,
He
that's-
undrafted free agent of the Falcons. So
Yeah.
We'll
Hey,
take
hey
that.
Ralph, I would just make one comment when we're talking about conferences, and obviously the Power Four guys are there for a reason. But I'm not gonna, dump on any conference in college football. But it's not as though it was Ohio State and their line that he was running behind, or Michigan and their line that he was running behind against Mountain West teams. He's a Mountain West team playing other Mountain West teams, which means his O-line is not Michigan's O-line, right? To your standard, it's not. So
you're 100% right.
He's still the guy. He's still the guy because he's playing against who he's playing against. His O-line and their D-line matches up. They're similarly skilled players on in their respective positions. So yeah, if you said, well, yeah, but it's the Philadelphia Eagles playing Boise, then that's a different story. But it's not. It's Boise playing an Air Force or somebody like that. So you need to keep it. We have to understand. He did.
I get 100% of what you're saying.
His numbers were impressive by anybody's standards.
He did play though on the best team in that conference with the best offensive line in that conference against teams that had horrible defensive lines and horrible linebackers. At UNLV,
I could say that about the national champs and some teams they played
they played plenty above. There ain't no doubt about it.
Who they were significantly better than. So I'm saying I think that happens in any conference in college football. But his skill set is impressive. Am I saying he's Bo Jackson for guys? I'm not going that far. But I'm saying I think it's a good pick for the Raiders. Establishing a run game. I think the difference in the Super Bowl was one team with a phenomenal run game and another team that relied on Mahomes solely to win the game, and we saw how that turned out.
Yeah,
and so the Raiders having a good running back is going to be helpful. I think. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I don't really.
Oh, hell!
Oh, perfect. Wonderful then. Wonderful then.
So
because I'll tell you that to me, the problem that I have with the Raiders is that the quarterback that they went and got, the quarterback that they went and picked up and gave $66 million guaranteed to, was a quarterback that was only successful his entire fucking career with 2 above average receivers. The Raiders don't have fucking 1 above average receiver.
No. Jacoby Myers, man.
Is Jacoby Myers better than DK Metcalf or Njigba? That motherfucker's
That's not what we're saying. That's not what you said. You said above average.
He's not above average.
You what?
He's not above average.
He didn't drop a single pass last season.
Didn't drop a pass last year.
Wonderful. He didn't drop a pass.
Listen.
He's not an above average receiver
You're
for
wrong.
a guy that you
Wrong.
brought in.
Wrong.
Okay.
Wrong.
You'll see when you're sitting there with 6 wins and a $66 million quarterback and a first-round pick in a running back, who, by the way, you're a Cowboys fan, Fred. You guys wasted a first-round pick on Zeke, although phenomenal for his first 4 seasons. Afterwards, what happened to Zeke? Ryan, how do you like the Bijan pick? They're not utilizing them the way. They're not utilizing them. How many playoff wins has that brought you? I'll tell you how many.
Been 2
None.
years.
It's been so. First of all, let's pump your brakes on that one. Considering you're not going to say that Bijan's not being utilized by this coach that is currently at the helm for the Falcons the right way, because last year he had his best year under a brand new coach.
How many wins did that bring you? Any playoff wins?
No.
I don't know that anybody said a running back's going to bring that by themselves.
Why am I wasting the number 6 pick in the draft on a player?
Why are we talking about drafts from 3 years ago? First of all,
we're talking about the position. We're talking about the position. And to me, I don't draft a player in the first 10 picks that player more than likely, historically, won't even make it to his second contract. There's very few. Very few.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You count them on one hand. So for the Raider fans to be so excited about this pick when you clearly said they have nobody to block, they have nobody to be able to execute this run game, okay? They have nobody. Literally, you have nothing, and you went and got a running back.
Here's the thing. You had Josh Jacobs, but let me fast forward because Fred has, we have him for a specific time. Fred, I don't know if you have to leave, but if you have 5 more minutes, Fred, I would appreciate if you.
I'm good. I'm good until about 6:25.
Okay, so let's fast forward. But okay, so Josh Jacobs can amazing running back. Can you say what would Josh? I see what Rafa's talking about. What would have Josh Jacobs done on this team, or what could he have done on this team?
Last year, nothing.
Yes, so I get what the point he's trying to make. Bijan, I thought they should have given the ball more. But let's
Yes,
fast forward.
Arthur Smith should have given him the ball more. Raheem Morris did.
Yes. So
Same conclusion.
listen, we've been beating around the bush for an hour and 4 minutes now. Okay.
Yeah, we have.
Beating around the bush. And,
let's get to the Browns.
Let's get to the Browns. Let's get to Shador, pick 144. You know, first pick, second pick. Let's first of all, I agree. I am on the side of Ryan, and I think trading down from 2 to 5 was a mistake. Listen, the draft is a crapshoot, right? But like I said last week, if Travis Hunter turns out to be a all-pro receiver, all-pro slot corner, outside corner, whatever, you just passed on the most generational. You passed on Shohei Ohtani, something that's never been done ever. And I'm a fan of Travis Hunter. Do I think he's going to be first team all-pro both? I do not, but I think he's damn good. And to trade out of that, I know they got a lot back. But like the Raiders, you could have 20 picks, and if you're not good at drafting, who cares how many picks you have? I think it's a mistake. Where do you guys stand on them trading back in that first round?
Stupid.
I'm a fan.
I'm
a fan.
Why?
I like it.
Browns have so many holes, and like getting that extra pick also to start the second round allows them to fill in more gaps for the holes they need. Browns need a bunch of shit. So if they can get as many picks as they need, and their picks were good. They didn't have shitty ass picks. They got Mason Graham at number 5. They got your boy Carson Wentz. You talked about all season.
Right. Yeah.
They got my favorite running back in the draft, besides Genty, Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State.
Right.
And they also got Tennessee's running back, Samson. They did pretty fucking well, and they got 2 quarterbacks to add into that big-ass room.
Who are the best 2 teams in that division? I mean, the best 2 players in that division is Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Yes. You need defense. You need to be able to play defense. They drafted defense. First 2 picks, defense. I think they did a great job, and they have the best defender in football. So you just helping him. We know how good he looks. Let's be real.
Oh Jesus! Woo! I think the Browns had a great draft. I do. Like I'm not taking anything away from the draft that they had, but I'm saying I didn't agree with them trading back when they probably could have brought in both Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. That was my thought after watching the draft, where it was like, if you guys weren't going with a quarterback and you got Shador in the 5th round, which him going after Dylan Gabriel is still crazy to me, but him going where he went tells me you could have had this tandem. You could have had these 2 guys on your team, right? So they need defense. They got it in Travis Hunter. They need guys on offense. They got it in Travis Hunter. They would have gotten it with Shador Sanders as well. So they would have gotten players that they needed as well. I don't think that the guys that they drafted, while great, I don't know, and I'd have to look back at draft grades and things like that, so I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't know that people were clamoring to go get the guys that they drafted either, right? Like I feel like they still could have gotten a good portion of the guys that they drafted and could have had Travis Hunter as well, right? So that's why I was like, I understand what they did, but I'm not a fan of what they did. I think that they could have had both guys.
Do you really believe, you guys really believe, and it sounds like you guys do, really believe that Travis Hunter's going to play both ways the entire game?
No, he's not going to play.
Not the entire game.
It's unsustainable.
I don't remember saying he was going to play the entire game.
You just said, our slot receiver and a corner. That's what you said.
Yeah. Because he can do that. The game isn't 30 seconds, Rafa. He can play wide receiver and corner in a game. It can happen. You know who did it? Dion did it.
Troy Brown did it too. You don't need to go that far. But
that's what I'm saying. It can happen. It can happen. I'm not saying he's going to do it the whole game, though. At no point did I say he's going to do it the whole game.
He's not even going to do it half of the game. And when you look at the best team in that division, it is by far and away Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And I got a defensive tackle to help me stop the run. Okay? Help me stop the run. That's what I got with my number 5 pick.
Do you think that they couldn't have gotten him?
When were they going to get Mason Graham? When were you going to get Mason Graham? Because Mason Graham was never getting past 12 or 11. That was never happening. So you were never getting him. Period. If you weren't getting Mason Graham at 5, and they knew it. They knew I'm not going to take Mason Graham at 2, and I know I can get him at 5. After 5, who knows? Who knows after 5? But
here's
for
the thing.
sure it wouldn't get past 11.
Do I think he's going to play both ways? 53 is so restrictive. The 53 roster is so handcuffy and so restrictive. They need to expand it. But to have a guy to be able to play both sides with a 53-man roster, almost everybody there's very few guys on a 53-man roster that doesn't get in for at least special teams. You know, every receiver gets in, every DB gets in, every linebacker gets in. You might have a right tackle or left tackle that they might even throw in for PAT that gets in. Almost everybody gets used in a 53-man roster. It is so tough, and why they need to expand it. That's why he is so valuable, in my opinion. Not to mention, piggyback on this, and it's what makes it look suspect is that you took Dylan Gabriel. Wild. That was to me, that's the most shocking thing that happened, the whole thing. That he was taken before Shedeur. That absolutely made no sense. And then you double down and then take Shedeur after Dylan Gabriel. That to me made it look like someone is arguing, someone's throwing nachos in the war room at each other. Like it's a dysfunctional. That seemed very dysfunctional to me.
Or it was very calculated.
It
may not.
Chance, Fred.
Go ahead, Fred.
I'm just saying it may not be dysfunctional. It may be strategic. And if it was strategic, Cleveland Browns did a hell of a thing getting a projected first or second rounder in the 5th. So if that's in fact what they just pulled off because they were being strategic, you know, I tip my hat to them. I think it is clear that there was a level of message sending in this draft relative to Shedeur. But I think sometimes, you know, you can bring certain things on yourself, and he's acknowledged that there were some things in the process that he, you know, would do differently if he had them to do over again.
Has he acknowledged that?
Yeah. No.
He has?
Yeah,
he did.
He's acknowledged it.
Yeah. And so I think that's growth. Look, I'm going to say something as a dad who's a businessman who's raised my kids a certain way. My kids don't ever get to say, "Do you know whose son I am?" Now, I'm not doing a false equivalency there. I'm not as a football player what Deion Sanders was. Okay. But I'm saying it doesn't matter if your dad is, you know, a billionaire entrepreneur, an elite athlete, your Denzel's son. Like, do you know who my dad is?
Right.
Has nothing to do with who you are and what you're going to accomplish.
100%.
It may help open certain doors. In this case, maybe it closed a couple, but you must stand on your own. And what I hope the lesson is for Shedeur coming out of this, I suspect it is based on what I've heard him say, is that he realizes this journey, while his dad can make calls, tap in, use whatever position he holds in the sport, and he's earned the right to have, you know, some position and some gravitas, but that doesn't mean anything. I thought the statements that were most egregious were, you know, why would you think I care about what you have to say about me? Don't you know who my dad is? Your dad's one of the 2 or 3 greatest athletes that's ever been on the planet. Literally. Right?
2.
You're not, right? So I think, you know, if you're coming into my business asking me to hire you, and you come in and interview in that fashion, you're not getting hired.
So, agree with you. And before I let Ryan correct us on this, I want to say this because there's a couple of things I wrote down. I wrote down self-awareness. Self-awareness is so important, right, for these young men and for all men. And it's really a thing that people need to get a hold of and grasp. And I believe his self-awareness was really bad. You hear that he went into the Giants interview. It didn't go well. If you watch the HBO special of Hard Knocks preseason, you saw what these coaches do. And this is where I think Dion dropped the ball. Not hiring an agent, not having his sons prepared for a situation where you're going to go into an environment with the interview with top dogs, and they know most of these guys have been coached, trained. They know every question coming. They will talk about a play and then get into some personal life and then say, oh, what about that play? What has been said is that they grilled Shedeur. He didn't like the questioning, and he said, maybe I'm not the dude for you then. To me, that was when the Giants said, you're done. That's where I believe Dion dropped the ball. An agent would have let Shedeur know, hey, they're not going to kiss your ass. In fact, they are going to remember the story with you, Fred, being a Cowboys fan with Dez Bryant, where they got into Dez Bryant. They tried to push his button and said, what if someone called your mom a hooker?
Mhm.
They are literally trying to get you out of your comfort zone, get you out of your training with your agent. And that's where he failed. He should have thrown in the combine. I have so many thoughts on this, but I'll let Ryan speak on because Ryan really wanted to come and said, correct us on this thing, man. So Ryan, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, so one thing I'll speak to is something that Fred said, and it's something I've literally never done, right? Like you said in my intro, if my uncle was so and so, I would always want to be announced that way. For a long time growing up, I didn't. That picture's behind me right now for a reason, because it's something that I'm proud of. But it does cast a big shadow growing up, and you want to establish your own. Shedeur, while he has established his own bravado and everything else, still rests on the laurels of his father. And you see that in the things that he said, right? Like, do you know who my dad is? Even though he didn't mean it as, you know who my dad is, let me in the club. He meant it as, do you know who my dad is? I'm getting some of the most critical coaching and some of the most critical things being said to me, right? It was more of a point of the environment he grew up in, and not a point of, throwing a trump card out there for this is who I am. So from that perspective, I was like, that's going to be, and again, speaking as a journalist, I wanted to be a journalist because I knew how easy it is for your words to get twisted. I saw my uncle go through it. I saw him say a lot of things that he either meant or didn't mean, or had a certain context to it, but it was twisted. And I was like, I want to bring in my own sports acumen and my own sports experience into this profession. And that's literally what I try and do anytime if there's a microphone and a camera on me, or if I'm writing or whatever I'm doing, right? So I feel like for Shedeur, yes, he needed to be a lot more self-aware, and he certainly was not self-aware in this context at all. Again, they were certainly sending a message, as Fred said. This was a message. You're trying to come in and throw your weight around and this, that, and whatever. However, I don't think that message needed to be, you're now a 5th round pick, because the fact that he was a 5th round pick and no one picked him, like no one, right? Like it smelled a little fishy to me, in the sense of everyone has had either the same conversations of, let's send a message to me, right? I'm not gonna say the collusion or anything else like that, but these scouts, and Louis Riddick said it the other day on ESPN. He said, as a scout, if you like a guy, you're gonna propel him. If you don't like a guy, you're gonna watch him drop, and you're gonna put the word out there, and things like that are gonna happen. So I feel like the word was kind of out, where it was like, hey, what kind of conversation did you have with him? What kind of conversation did you have? Now, he may have had a bad first meeting with the Giants, but he didn't have a bad second meeting with the Giants. He had a second one where he went there and it was great, and they said it was great. And that's where everybody was like, okay, this is getting a little weird now, right? Like, first round goes by, all right, whatever. Second round, third round, but for him to get drafted after Dillon Gabriel was pretty crazy to me. And message sent, fine, whatever. But for the Browns to take Shador after taking Dylan Gabriel, it just seemed very weird. So when you look at that quarterback room, it's definitely Shador's position to win. They're going to rest on the veterans initially, but then have these young bucks kind of come up and see what they can do in the preseason and in practice and everything else. But the ultimate thing that I think was possibly the determining factor, and it had nothing to do with him being cocky. I don't think you have to be humble. Nobody wants a humble quarterback, to be completely honest. I don't want to play with a humble quarterback. I want to play with a dude who thinks he's him, because that's going to elevate everybody around. For me, it is, at least. I'm speaking specifically for me. I want a dude that thinks he's going to get us out of the worst, 4th and 99 and win us the game. I want that dude. I don't want a humble quarterback ever.
Agreed.
But I will say that if Shador had some sort of X factor that just flew off the charts, none of this shit would ever be talked about. It wouldn't.
100%.
If he think about, I mean, who's the quarterback that's with the Colts right now? They drafted him because he's awful, but they drafted him. Why? Because he's built like Cam Newton. And they were like, that dude's got a strong arm. He throws it out of the stadium. He's 6'19". He's big as hell. And then it turned out that he was made of porcelain, and he's been hurt every single season.
Yeah.
But he was drafted based off of those X factors of having a very strong arm, athleticism, and he was built like a brick shithouse. So I don't want to hear this, oh, it was the interviews, it was this. No, it was probably one between the ears, because he very rarely did not play on time, held the ball too long. And secondly, he didn't have some eye-popping athleticism like Travis Hunter has, where he's got incredible ball skills, where he can be a wide receiver and a cornerback, right? So for me, it was very weird that he was drafted late, but the ego stuff and the do you know who my dad is stuff, you can throw that out the window. You can also throw out the window Deion being out there with, if we don't want to go somewhere, we're not going to go somewhere, because Eli Manning did it, but they just did it behind closed doors. Yeah. And it wasn't as, broadcasted when he said it. It's just that when Deion says things, he has a bullhorn. Archie Manning does not have a bullhorn when he says things. He just picks up the phone and makes these phone calls and makes shit happen that way. Whereas Deion uses the power of the microphone. But again, if he had like some crazy speed, if he had some crazy strong arm, if he was making wild plays like Johnny Manziel was making, they will look past the bullshit to bring you onto their team, because we've seen it happen time and time again. Yes, there was certainly a message that was sent, but that message, for me, it seemed a little bit too much with him being drafted in the 5th round after Dylan Gabriel, who was basically just sitting around just watching the draft. Like, I wonder what the hell's going to happen, and ends up getting drafted in the 3rd round. Like, that's a little bit much to me.
So Ryan,
yeah.
I know Fred has to leave. He has the interview. Fred, thank you for joining us, by the way. Let me give you 10, 30 seconds on this. I agree with everything you said, Ryan. Pretty good take, actually. I really like what you had to say there, because it made a lot of sense. But Fred, last words on this, and then we'll take a 2-minute break.
Yeah, it's been great hanging out with you guys. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate the counter argument. Look, I'm not saying he should have gone in the 5th. I'm saying that the team that wanted him got him in the 5th. So if they were being strategic, it was a good strategic move, and I think there'll be a value proposition that could play out in their favor pretty significantly if he's the quarterback that many believe he can be. I think there's a growing up moment, an opportunity certainly for Shador in all of this, right? Because this is the way the world works. You can be talented and rub people the wrong way and not get the same results as if you're talented and aren't rubbing people the wrong way. So if this young brother learned this lesson now, as opposed to some of the lessons I've learned in my 50s, then great, right? Yeah. I hope my kids are learning a lot of lessons while they're young, so they don't have to hit their head against so many damn brick walls along the way. So if it's a lesson he's got now, then chalk it up to that. He's a Cleveland Browns quarterback now, and I think the starting position is his to lose. So I wish him well. And I think he'll, sort of reset and approach things differently moving forward. And I think it'll serve him well.
Well, thank you, Fred, again for joining
you,
us.
sir.
I see a future with you and Rafa in a political podcast. I see a future.
Yeah,
It's called Yappin', baby, and I
Yeah.
think that could be fun.
We'll make
But thank
it
Fred.
happen. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
Fred.
to your
Appreciate
family.
you.
Good
luck,
luck this
Fred.
year to Justin.
Thank you, brother. All right. Love you, man.
Love you, man.
Talk to you
All
later.
right.
See ya.
So
Hey, can I address this Shador thing real quick?
no, really. You know what, Rafa? I know how you feel about this. Instead of us taking a break, because I think I know you have a lot to say on it, and I think you think it's a very good spot for him to be. So I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna take a 30 break and do your thing.
So I to me, I think it's like Ryan said, where he's gonna, it's his job to take, and not so much. To me, I think he goes in there thinking, and that's the best case scenario it was for him. I think because if you got drafted by the Giants, you weren't gonna play this year, and I know. The guys maybe don't want to play this year. Dion wanted him to sit behind or whatever. But going into Cleveland, there's really no competition to win that job. Joe Flacco, yeah, he led him to the playoffs a couple years ago or whatever, but it's his job to take. Now, him dropping to the 5th round, okay, can we just kind of say that can we say, is it viable to say that maybe he wasn't that good? Ryan, can we say that or no? Because when we watched him play against Nebraska, he was awful. That's the best team he played on defense, and he was awful.
Very true. Very true. I wouldn't say that he wasn't that good though. Because here's the thing. If he wasn't that good, then the early projections for him would not have been 1st round. And it's not based on his name either. It isn't. It is not based on his name. I don't think it's based on his name.
Go ahead.
If it's based on his name, then I'll happily eat crow. However, he took teams that were 1-11 and brought in a lot more wins. They had a lot more talent on the team for sure, but you can't say that he just wasn't that good. You can't.
He didn't walk in. He didn't walk into that same roster. He walked in with the #1 recruit the year before, the guy who won the Heisman. So you had the Heisman Trophy winner on your team, and you couldn't win a bowl game. You couldn't win a game you had to win on the road in Kansas. You couldn't beat Nebraska at the beginning of the season. A team who at the end of the year, after basically the Colorado game, kind of fell off and got their ass whooped by Rorick and Indiana. You couldn't beat that team. You got totally dominated against BYU in the bowl game. And for people, and you see it in the comments, he threw 38 touchdowns. In college, it is the quarterback position in college does not translate the same to the NFL. He's 6'2".
Very rarely, yeah.
Graham Harrell was 6'2" and threw for 5,000 yards, not once, twice. Case Keenum, who was drafted after later rounds than Shador, threw for 5,500 yards twice. So he was good in college, maybe. But like you alluded to earlier, he didn't stand out at one thing. He took too many sacks. He blamed the offensive line for taking too many sacks. When you watched him run into some of those sacks, for me, the most telling and worst thing I can ever see a quarterback do, and I saw Caleb Williams do it this year. I saw Caleb Williams do it the year before at USC. Okay. And who I didn't see do it, which I was very impressed with, was the kid who came in for USC late in the season. You don't run out of bounds for a sack. You are already at the sideline. Throw the fucking ball into the sideline. That is a mental mistake that you make as a quarterback. And I got to believe you can't even process that. And you want me to believe that you, in a not so good Big 12, where you struggled against Nebraska and BYU, and you couldn't go on the road and beat Kansas, a team, although who was hot at that point, but it was still fucking Kansas. You want me to believe that you're a first-round talent when you couldn't beat those guys?
I don't think he was a first-round talent either.
So
That was never my argument was never for him to go in the first, but it was definitely for him to go earlier than the fifth. And that was my argument, right? I don't think that he was a first round talent. I think that everybody was saying he was a first round talent because all they did was play his highlights of him to Travis Hunter all the time, or him to Horn all the time, right? Like they had a ton of highlights. Yes, he threw for a ton of yards, threw for a ton of touchdowns, but yeah, he did hold on to the ball too much. He needs to be more decisive with the ball. And that was a very big problem, right? Yeah. Calm down on Kansas. Kobe Bryant's now a Falcon, all right. But he did need to be. He did need to be more decisive, right? He did need to be better with the football and not have the ball in his hands as long as he did. And he did need to, but I will give him an out. Like the offensive line he had was not good. We can't talk about Ashton Genty and the line that he had, but then say, Shedeur getting picked up and being like having 99, giving up 99 sacks. You can't say all 99 sacks were on him, right?
No,
like
no,
that just
definitely,
doesn't.
Definitely not. Definitely not. That's not what I'm saying. But there were a handful of plays where you're taking sacks, and that's what these teams are seeing. And so, yeah, he threw for 4,100 yards and 38 touchdowns. So did Gardner Minshew. Like, and he's the same size. There's plenty of guys. If Gardner Minshew's last name was Sanders and he was a little bit darker, he would have been drafted earlier. That's what I'm saying. So, because to me, you cannot tell me that Shedeur Sanders listen, if we go game by game, if you had one game to choose from every single one of these quarterbacks, you know who had a more impressive game? That turd from Louisville that New Orleans took. He threw He threw 4 touchdowns against a top 10 team in the country in Miami and won that game, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Shedeur didn't have an eye-opening game all year long against a tough opponent, period. He didn't have one. So for people to say all these things, I think it's I hope he does well, and I think he's put in a perfect situation to do well. And I think he's going to get an opportunity early because Stefanski's on his last leg there. Okay. They didn't fire him last year because of what happened with Watson. But this year, if Stefanski starts off 0-2, 0-3 with Joe Flacco, it's going to be QB2 to play. And whether it's Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel or Kenny Pickett, it should be Shedeur. And having him sit through all that and endure all the shit that he had to endure for the first 2 days of the draft should have put something. He should have come to a realization that, hey, I can't be this pompous asshole that he has been. Because when you're arguing after a game to the Colorado State quarterback and you fail to shake his hand after the guy came up to you, shit talking happens all the time. You see it in boxing and UFC and all that. The guys talk all sorts of shit. But at the end of the fight, there's a sort of respect. And there is no respect from Shedeur to that opposing team in Colorado State, who, by the way, the year before, you luckily beat in overtime.
So let me address what Michael Brown just put up. Put up what Michael Brown just put up. How about calling his O-line out? Red flags all over the place on him, hence a 5th rounder. So this was my point I was trying to get to when I said self-awareness. At this point, Shedeur knows his younger brother, oldest brother, whatever, Dion Jr., I think, is the social media manager. There's cameras there at all times. He knows he's being watched and scrutinized every second. Now, to me, this is where the agent comes in play, right? And I think this was calculated and kind of diabolical at the same time. You saw Cam Ward come out in a muted suit. Like, listen, Rafa can tell you, everyone who knows me can tell you, 50th birthday, I'm coming out in Gucci socks. I am look good, feel good. I am look good, feel good to a detriment. The NFL draft is your sort of like get out of jail free card to be as loud and as boisterous and to flash and bling as hard as you can, and you will get a pass. 100% you should, right? For Cam Ward to come out in a sandstone blazer / t-shirt, not a $150,000 chain. almost seemed a little calculated. It almost seemed like I am going to be anti Shedeur. You saw the clips of him, like Michael Brown said, when they're practicing and Shedeur says, "Hey, let's do a video together, let's do a song together." And Cam's like, "Dude, I just play football. You don't have any hobbies? No, I'm gonna be known for football." It almost at this point, what Cam Ward did, I have to put on another level as brilliant. I think you should be authentic. You should be yourself, right? Be who you want to be. And I think Shedeur is that. I'm wondering if this is really Cam, or if he was just playing chess when everyone else was playing checkers. Does anyone
I
have
think
any
that's really
opinion
him.
on that? Really?
I think it's really him because he showed up. He flew in today to Tennessee and he's got on just like regular blank hoodie, some cargo pants, and some just like normal running shoes. Like the dude is that's just like who he is. Like it's not really his thing.
Just
like
a regular guy. Man.
Yeah, like he's it. That's just who he is.
And there's
And
nothing wrong with that.
I thought
not
so.
at all.
There's
Not at
nothing
all.
wrong with that. But some people
Not at
think,
all.
and the media thinks that, a lot of people think, oh, because you're black, you need to be part of that hip hop culture. And Shedeur is all of that. Cam Ward, not so much. And there's nothing wrong with it. But, maybe they didn't like it too much.
I think so. Like I said, I get a chance to pay attention to sports for a living, and with Shedeur, him having a camera on him 24/7 it's his own camera, right? Like it is literally his own camera. His brother following him around. It's a confirmation station is what it is, because think about it. Whenever, a piece of content goes out, I'll give you a kind of peek behind the curtain. When a piece of content goes out, people drown it in comments, likes, whatever, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. It's confirmation that people are watching him. And that is the biggest thing for a guy like Shedeur. Everybody's watching. It's now my time. It's now my show. It's now this, it's now that, right? I'm Primetime 2.0 is literally, the way that it looks. So like them having a camera on him all the time, like I said, it's pure confirmation that he is doing the things that everybody likes, and this is my show, right? And I honestly think that a lot of teams may not have liked that, to be completely honest. It like I said, you can if he had the crazy amount of height, speed, arm strength, whatever else, all that shit goes out the window. But it was always the Shedeur show at all times. It really is. But I will say, like, Rafa, it was telling for me when you said that if Flacco messes up, then it should be QB2 and it should be Shedeur. Why not Dillon Gabriel if you don't feel like Shedeur is as good?
Because I don't feel that Dillon Gabriel was any good for that. To me, Dillon Gabriel is college good. He was college good. For me, Dillon Gabriel, Central Florida, college good.
But your take was that Shedeur wasn't even really college good.
No. He was good. He was good enough. He was good enough. He wasn't great though. He wasn't what all these people are saying, right? And when you're,
I can agree with that.
So that's my take, is that he wasn't all of what everyone was saying that he was. Oh, he did this for Colorado and blah blah blah. Yes, with the Heisman Trophy winner on his team in a conference that wasn't that good. But when he faced a team that was top 20 in defense, he did absolutely nothing. Against BYU and Nebraska, did absolutely nothing. Okay. Dillon Gabriel, to me, last year wasn't at the best that he's been. He was better his first year at Central Florida, then he got hurt. He was better maybe the first year at Oklahoma. But when you're looking at an NFL quarterback, I don't want a 5'10" guy who can't see over his line like Tua, and you drafted another Tua in the third round. So for me, it should be Shedeur. 6'2". He has, when he's in the pocket, okay, when he was not rushed, okay, when he was not under duress, He passed for 80. His completion percentage was 80% last year when he wasn't under duress. Okay. Now, who knows how much they're taking that, because he bailed a lot real quick and we saw it. So, but for me, I think it's his job.
He didn't trust his line. He didn't trust his line, honestly.
No.
And that's why he bailed really quickly, because he didn't trust them whatsoever. And it was apparent every single game. He's going in there thinking that he's going to have to throw up a couple of prayers every single game. So,
but that was also that eluded that you can go also to the coaching, who really gave up on the running game right away all the time. And I go back to, for me,
and they had running backs that could actually run the ball.
Yeah, that
could exactly.
Yes,
and
exactly.
And when you go back, we were at the UCLA game when
Yes.
Colorado came to play UCLA the year before. Okay, and if you watch that game, the game's over. There's like a minute and a half left. They might have been down 12 or 13 or whatever. I think it was 12. It was like a minute and a half left, and Dion throws them in there with a minute and a half left. And Latu for UCLA, he was fucking headhunting.
Oh.
Why is Shedeur in the game at that moment? Okay, because that's a moment where I'm just running the ball and I'm getting the fuck out of here. There's no way that we're going 80 plus yards to get a score and then kick it. Like, it wasn't happening. You knew it wasn't happening. You had no more timeouts. Like, it wasn't happening. And you threw him out there. You threw him out there on your own fucking pride, Dion, to show that's my son out there. That was your son out there getting his ass fucking handed to him with a minute and a half left when it meant nothing.
Remember
so
that?
There was already distrust in that offensive line from the year before. And you didn't trust them by not running the ball enough. That was a disservice that they did to Shedeur. And I believe that was Dion's fault, because he wanted his son to shine.
I remember clearly. I remember like saying someone needs to call CPS on Dion. Like
that night, we were there watching that.
It was egregious. Like, why is this kid out here? He's gonna get killed. That's your son. Like, why is he out there? It didn't make any sense.
He was trying to prove a point. And the point was that on the 3 dropbacks, he almost got killed all 3 times. That's what it was.
So,
for me, you got to be able to run the ball, and they didn't. They didn't even try, and that's what led to a ton of the sacks. It was because they didn't even try and run the ball in the beginning of the game. They didn't even try.
Last thing on Shedeur, right? I'm not going to get into the whole legendary thing, the whole hype, party. That's obvious. That turned a lot of people off. You cannot have a brand of legendary. That's a part of the self-awareness that I have to put a little bit of blame on Dion for. I just have to give him some shit for that. Like, I know you don't care what other people think of you, but if you come out with the brand legendary, and shit was gonna go bad, well, it went bad. But my question is this: the last thing on him is I really think Ryan and Rafa and everyone on the panel that leadership is starting to be a bigger focus with this GMs and this process. The NFL locker room, and just like any business, Rafa, any person in leadership, if you have a company, right, or if you have a team, a leader will be exposed. An NFL quarterback needs to be a leader, and I'm not sure Shedeur is a great leader, and I think that also might have been a caveat or a trait that scared teams away. We've seen him, throw his O-line under the bus. I agree with Rafa. Like I think they didn't run the ball on purpose, to be honest. I think that he's really quick. We saw with Cam Ward. Cam Ward said, if I threw dinks and dunks, I would have 90% completion. And Shedeur comes out and says, well, you had a running game, whatever. My thing is, I think these GMs are really looking at the leadership qualities in quarterbacks. I agree with, I think what you said, and Rafa said it before, you don't want your quarterback to be you want him to be a dick. You want him to have confidence. You want him to be that dude. You want him to have him think he is him. But I think it turned off a lot of people with his attitude and his his leadership ability is what I guess is what I'm trying to say. Any last thoughts on this?
I agree with that, honestly. If you know, and I brought up Johnny Manziel before because he was the problem child of the NCAA, and everybody knows it. I mean, just go watch the doc, and I don't care what coaches say. I'm around too many Division I coaches to know that they know everything that's going on. They do, and when they tell you that they don't, 90% of the time they are lying to you. They know what's happening. They know what guys are doing. So the X factor for Johnny Manziel was his ability to be a playmaker, his ability to do things that other quarterbacks weren't doing. And he also had a win over Bama. So that kind of helps here, guys. Like, so there was that as well. So Shedeur, the attitude issues, whatever else, him needing some humble pie. I think everybody probably needs it at a certain point, but you also do want your quarterback to just kind of be that dude. But he is showing self-awareness. He did already address that he probably should have went about things a lot better. He was already in Cleveland today speaking to some kids in an elementary school. So he's already trying to be a better human being,
I think he will. I
think he will too.
I think it was a rude awakening. I think it was a rude awakening, and to me, I still think it's the best situation that he could have gone into. But by the way, what you alluded to earlier with Travis Hunter, with the Browns picking him, not taking him, when the Browns were picking in the I think the third
second
round. Well, when they were picking in the third, I thought to myself, "Fuck, they could have had Shedeur and Travis Hunter."
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting there going, like, "Wow, that would have been nice."
Yeah.
Because you have some sort of familiarity there together. It would have been nice, right? And you would have been able to have them both. I don't mind anything that the Browns did, obviously, but I thought the same thing. I thought once they picked in the third, I was like, dude, they could have stayed put and had them both, and which would have been something to see. But
the number one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is how Shedeur plays when the person that is calling the plays, or at least the person that he's looking at on the sidelines, isn't his dad. That's kind of the ultimate thing for me, because you can tell me all day long that before the game they walk down the sideline, they walk down as father and son, they walk back as coach and quarterback. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. That's my dad on the headset, whole game, all the time. So now there is zero comfort zone on that sideline. Now you will truly see what you are made of, and we'll all see what's going to happen when there's no Travis Hunter that's over there. None of these guys that are on this team with you are guys that you have been around and have been playing video games with, or making videos with, or getting cool shit from Nike with, and none of them, not one of them. Your brother, I guarantee you, if the Browns are not going to allow his brother in that building to shoot video, you can do it outside the facility. Don't bring it in here. You're a rookie. You got to earn some shit. It's going to be a very big difference. And I'll tell you right now, Cleveland ain't fun. So it is not fun. So you better figure some shit out.
It's cold, Harmony,
and it is not fun. It is not fun at all. So there's
Boulder's
a lot
cold,
that's about to change.
Boulder's a college town, and Cleveland is cold, and
there ain't nothing to do.
I love what Matt said there, because as a quarterback, I really truly believe that it's an identity thing. You have to be a leader, and I'm hoping that for the record, I wish nothing but the best for Shedeur, and I hope he has tremendous success. That's not going to be in our post, and I'm going to get a bunch of hate either way, like I do, but it doesn't matter. So,
Rafi said he turned one team to a 4-8 team. The next season 8-4. He's a true leader. Shedeur for Rookie of the Year. He'll probably play better because Deion ain't no shit.
Loves him.
Ralphie loves fucking Shedeur.
And you know what? The younger generation loves him.
That's fine. It's wonderful. Good for him. I hope he does well. and he's the best situation, but we'll see what happens. Let's get to some NBA since we got Ryan on here, the LeBron hater.
Before we go to NBA, I just got a couple things to say about NFL. I know Eddie was really excited about this one. Giants trading up and getting Jackson Dart before Shedeur Sanders, trading up for him in the first round. I want to give you your flowers on that if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, I think you called that.
Yeah. I did call it. I didn't see the slide. It was based off of facts, of literal facts. And I do think that Jackson Dart is going to be a successful quarterback. He has the backing of Daboll. Daboll, he gets a lot of credit for Josh Allen. Obviously Josh Allen has only gotten better every year, so you can't give him that much freaking credit. But when you have a coach,
he didn't go top 12 though. I remember you saying that Dart was going to go top 12.
Yeah. I did.
That's
say that.
what it was.
Early. I said that really early, and he didn't go top 12. But people were shocked. I was not shocked. This to me was not a conspiracy. This to me was based off of leadership, self-awareness, and actual game film. And I'll say that. Thank you, Eddie Money, for acknowledging me.
But by the way, since we're acknowledging people, I want to acknowledge the fucking drunk dude who was with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton, a Giants fan, who says they would draft Abdul Carter and trade back into the first round and draft Jackson Dart. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Called it, right?
Yeah, I did see that.
Called it to perfection. The guy was hammered. The guy was hammered.
Hammered. Double fisted. Bud Lights.
On point. Yeah, he had Bud Lights in his hand. It was on point.
That guy nailed it, and the Giants GM might have been watching that.
He might have.
Get that guy in the war room. What is he doing over there?
I tell you what. So I do love what the Falcons did to shout out my own team.
I did too as well.
And anyone saying that it's a bad trade to trade they traded a number one for a number one. Like there's no way that you're going to get back into the first round without giving up a first round pick. Like it's just not going to happen. And James, they got 2 of the top 5 rushers, guys. Like, so I saw people that were giving them F grades on the draft. It's like, are you insane? Like, are you stupid? And it's based off of the fact that they gave up a first round pick. And it's like, the premise is the same premise that they had last year when they took Penix, thinking we're not going to be in that top half to get a very good quarterback. Seeing how this quarterback draft turned out, that is vindication. And I said last year that I loved the pick of Penix in the first round. And now this year, trading back in and taking 2 top rushers, again, with the same premise of if we fix our defense, we will not be in position to take top guys again. So I think that vindication should happen again next year, even though there's some mock drafts coming out next year saying that the Rams are going to have the 3rd pick in the draft, and that's going to be the pick from the Falcons. But that's here nor there. I do not think that's going to happen. I think Rafa is going to have his his Raheem Morris bobblehead on his desk from the bet that we made, because they will be making the playoffs this year. It will happen. So you will make sure you get that order in.
Listen, I'm not a fan of teams in the NFL. You guys know that. I don't like fans. I don't like teams. I like players. But I've always had a soft spot for a certain teams in the NFL. One is the Miami Dolphins, because I love the city of Miami. 2 was the Falcons, because I love Michael Vick. I love Jamal Anderson. I like that Falcons team. And the other one is the Vikings. I just always have those, and the Steelers, obviously, because I love Mike Tomlin. But there's certain soft spots I have for teams. Like I can't stand the fucking Jets. Like I just fucking hate them. Like I hate them. That's just what it is.
I think you're.
But the Falcons, I am a dirty bird. I would love to see the Falcons in the playoffs. I would love to see them. I don't like Raheem Morris. To me,
okay, well, even more vindication of if you've just turned on the news lately and Googled Belichick, dodging that bullet as well. Thank you for taking Raheem Morris over Bill Belichick. I can see.
If Bill would have been an NFL head coach, he wouldn't have been on 60 Minutes.
Oh man,
because he never was before. So
But
he
there's
wouldn't
no
have been
but there's no guarantee that he wouldn't have had that 24-year-old girlfriend.
Oh no, 100%. You know what? And she might, if he would have been down in Atlanta, she might have been a lighter shade of brown, baby.
Let me
Yeah, I
tell you.
highly doubt it.
Let me tell
I
you.
highly doubt it.
I
highly doubt it.
nasty motherfucker, man.
How crazy
highly doubt it.
has
Magic City.
How crazy is Great Wings? How
Yeah,
crazy?
Great
Never been,
wings.
never been. But how crazy is the narrative has changed from Belichick, man? Look at this slide.
He got a 24-year-old.
Dude, 24-year-old, like the dirty dog. What a dirty bird too. Oh my God, this young woman is like taking advantage of this man.
They're calling her an escort.
Oh,
I saw
God.
that.
It's,
Nothing wrong
They
with
think she's an escort.
All right,
it's-
good for her.
whatever she is, it's not a good look for UNC. It's not a
Well,
good
they
look
ruined.
for
She
Bill.
ruined. She apparently ruined a deal with Hard Knocks.
Yeah, so
So
we're hearing now, which I have a hard time believing.
Oh.
Why wouldn't she want that? That's hard. Why wouldn't she want more exposure? That doesn't make any sense.
Because
No.
Bill's
She
got-
wanted
Bill's
to-
got an-
she wanted to be like part of production meetings.
Oh snap!
She's trying to get
she
them
wanted-
contracts, baby. She's trying to get them contracts.
She wanted to be like part of like that part of it. Like I the report came from Sports Business Journal where I used to work. So I actually sent a message to one of the writers and I was like, hey, what's the deal with this? And he's like, she was trying to be like
Wow.
very much part of these meetings, like part of this entire thing. Like this was a thing. So yeah, like this wasn't just like exposure based. She's apparently said that she's like the CEO of like Belichick production or some shit like that. Yeah, like something like that. But it's a company that like doesn't exist. It's not registered anywhere.
Sort of
So-
reminds me of that 60 Minutes. You remember the 60 Minutes? Eddie, you're way too young for this. When Mike
I've
Tyson
never watched this
and,
60 minutes.
and Robin,
Robin Givens.
Robin Givens. Does it not give off these type of vibes? Like she has tunneled her
She's-
way like El Chapo,
Yeah.
and it's just
It is weird. It is certainly weird.
yeah.
I got-
Can I ask you guys real quick, Eddie Money, without picking your team, the Falcons or the Raiders, and we'll exclude the Browns and the Giants. Who else impressed you in the draft?
Who else impressed me? I actually have notes on that, to be completely honest. Who else
For me, it's
impressed me?
Denver. For me, I thought it was Denver.
I love Denver. I love the Patriots. And a lot of people are giving the Bills a lot of shit. They went first. I think they went defense for the 6 first picks. And Bills
Yeah.
Mafia,
all they need.
Bills Mafia was really upset about it.
You gave up
I-
32 points to a team that didn't score 30 all
Hey,
year long.
I know.
Hello?
But Bills,
a team that didn't score 30 all year long, and the only game they scored 30
Yeah.
was against you.
I know, and they don't like it. They want.
I like
toys.
I like Baltimore's draft. I thought
I
the
like
Baltimore did a
Baltimore's
really
draft
good
as
job.
well. I thought
Man,
Dallas did
Baltimore
okay
has
as
a great
well.
draft every year. It's insane.
They got, I mean, obviously the Eagles getting who they got,
Sure.
whatever.
Hall of
But
Fame,
I
yeah.
thought Baltimore was really good. Them getting Mike Green. I honestly wanted the Falcons to take Mike Green. I love who the Falcons ended up taking, but I honestly really liked Mike Green, edge rusher. He just had, I think the issues with Mike Green were bigger because they were like sexual assault accusations over Pierce, who had an attitude problem, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's probably the ultimate deciding factor of why they traded back in and got Pierce instead of Mike Green. But Mike Green was very high up on my list of guys that, if you get him, that dude's a dog. I mean, he led in sacks. Like, he's a dog, man. And they obviously need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
like
gonna have
what
to say the
Baltimore did.
Giants. I was a fan of the Giants draft.
Yeah.
You get Abdul at 3, get Dart, and then you also get Cam Scatteraboo in the 4th round.
I think the Giants, are going to be one of the tougher teams in the league next year.
They're gonna be one of those scrappy teams.
I think so, and I think they're going to be one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in the league.
Before we
If-
move on,
if Abdul's
100%.
healthy, because they were pretty good this year defensively.
before we move on
Yeah.
to the NBA, I just want to bring up one thing, and I just remembered it right now.
Oh, I still got 2
wait.
things. You're good.
Okay, with the Giants, you had Abdul Carter coming out and saying, "Hey, can I wear 56?" You have
That was
Cam
stupid.
Ward,
And
Cam
LT was
Ward.
like, nah.
I
Yeah.
hate that.
right? Okay, so Cam Ward, Warren Moon comes out and gives him number one. Although it was
I
like
hate that as
Houston
well.
Oilers. Yeah, what's your take on this? Because I think Lawrence Taylor's like, dude, go be you. I do feel like there's a sort of like it, especially at Penn State, wearing 11, LeVar Arrington, Michael
Micah.
Parsons.
His son wears it now.
Yeah, like 11's a thing, right? And they haven't retired it. But why would you want to put the 56 on your back? It's such a huge, oh my God, the best defensive player of all time. I'd like that he wants to wear it, but at the same time, go make 19 legendary.
Yeah,
And Cam Ward, what do you guys feel about that?
Cam Ward, I was fine with because Cam Ward's been wearing number one for a long time. Like that is what it is, right? He wasn't changing his number.
And it's Warren Moon, who a great quarterback, but he wasn't one of the greatest quarterbacks. And Lawrence Taylor, before Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls, he was arguably the first or second best player of all time.
Him and Jerry Rice
were the two best players of all time before Tom Brady.
I think it was just you're not wearing LT's number. Like that's not no. Like so like for him to say 56 sounds good, stop. Just stop. But like Cam Ward, like he came in wearing number 1, right? Like just kind of is what it is. Like I'm fine with that one. It's just like everybody's talking about whether or not Walker's gonna wear 11 with Julio wearing 11 with the Falcons. I don't care if he wears 11. It's a completely different position. But like it's not like he's changing his number. It's not like he's trying to be somebody else. He's trying to be himself. He just happens, there's guys that wear that number. You're wearing 56 because of LT. And that was where I was like, yeah, that doesn't really compute for me.
I'm not a fan of retiring any number or unretiring any number. Or retired unretiring. I'm not a fan of unretiring.
I agree.
What I felt like for me, one of the most shocking moments of the draft was Colston Loveland from Michigan getting drafted to the Bears before Tyler Warren from Penn State. Me and CJ were audibly confused and like yelling at the screen. I thought it was crazy.
That's just all. I think that's just all speed. The difference. That's all I think it was.
I just want to see you get any thoughts on that.
You know what? I get it. Loveland, he's probably a more well-rounded tight end, right? Size-wise, but which tight end position has just morphed into almost like you're one of the most athletic dudes out there, right? Look at Brock Bowers. I think the Colts lucked out. I think the Colts, oh my God, it couldn't have happened any better for the Colts.
Yeah. He's like a safety net too for whether it's AR-15 or whoever the quarterback is.
Well, you saw what Brock Bowers did. I'm not sure Brock Bowers will have a year like he had last year.
I don't think so either.
He's going to have people around him. There's going to be, I mean, he was literally the best option on the field. Running back, receiver. He was the most talented and athletic dude on offense. So why not give him the ball 114 times or whatever they gave it to him? I think that might be the case for the Colts and him at tight end.
And then last thing, I have our resident Saints fan, Andrew. He came on with us last draft, and he wanted this to be made public because not many people were excited about the Tyler Shough pick from the Saints, but he wrote me a whole monologue verbatim to say to put it out there that he loves this pick. I'll go over real quick. He says, "Look, I get that Tyler Shough isn't the flashiest name out there, but I'm genuinely excited about
Shuck.
What is it?
It's spelled Show, but it's pronounced Shuck.
Shuck? Okay, look, I get that Tyler Shough isn't the flashiest name out there, but I'm genuinely excited about what he brings to the Saints. This is a guy with a prototype NFL size, a live arm, real toughness, and pro-style experience for multiple systems. He's battled through adversity, injuries, coaching changes, and he's still come out as a player that is willing to be the guy. And if you actually dig into the numbers and not just the box score, you'll see his upside. He had a 85.8 PFF grade on non-play action passes in 2024, 5th best in all of college football. That shows he's able to process defenses and make throws without needing heavy scheming to prop him up. He has the best release in his class. He throws a crazy good anticipation, which will pair well with a guy like Chris Olave. And the way he snaps from first read to second read is a great trait to take it to the NFL. People are sleeping on him because he didn't have the prettiest college career on paper, but the tools are real. He can push the ball vertically. He works through progressions, and he stands tall in the pocket under pressure. With the Saints' system and coaching staff, I think Shug can absolutely outplay the safer quarterback picks in this class. Bottom line, don't judge him by the resume. Judge him by the tools, toughness, and the flashes. I'm all in.
Wow.
It's not gonna be very easy. It's not gonna be very hard to outplay the quarterbacks in this draft. One. So and I'm glad he's all in. And yes, I am a Falcons fan shitting on the Saints right now, but it's not gonna be very hard. Secondly, I hope he keeps the same energy when Spencer Rattler is QB1, because that's probably what's going to happen.
Oh man, that's rough. So
I
put that on some Sanskrit, on a wall, Declaration of Andrew's Independence.
Like the Tim Tebow speech.
Yes. Put that. Andrew, get that tattooed on your chest, and go to Vegas. So
I'm glad he's all in.
I said it. I love the kid. A lot of people love the kid. It's a good pick in probably the worst QB class maybe in the history of the NFL. So
yeah, not good.
Well, that's not second worst because Kenny Pickett is the worst.
Oh,
yeah.
Good point. Touche.
There's one quarterback from that draft who plays, and he was the last pick of it. So
That's nuts.
imagine.
That's crazy.
Imagine. So,
Crazy. Yeah.
But yeah,
What else we
move
got?
on to the NBA playoffs.
NBA playoffs, man. You know what? I'm going to turn on the game.
The
So-
Rockets just beat the Warriors. They head to a Game 6 up in Golden State, where they most likely will close it out.
Lakers
Right.
are gonna
Rafa?
get put out of their misery tonight.
Rafa, you said this would not be a series. I said, hold up, Houston. I didn't. It was confusing to me that they were the 2 seed, but you see how young, athletic they can shoot. And obviously Jimmy Butler not 100%, but Jimmy, he is playing tonight.
Well, no,
So-
Jimmy played the other night, but
Played
tonight.
last night, played the other night as well.
Let's look through the box scores tonight. Jimmy was 2 for 10. Steph was 4 for 12. Steph played 25 minutes. Curry played 23 minutes. Jimmy played 25. Dude, if you look at the box score, the Warriors played everyone on that fucking bench, with the exception
Yeah.
of Jonathan Kuminga, who did not play because he's not fully healthy.
Mhm.
Game 6, this series should be over back in Golden State. The Rockets are missing a piece, maybe 2. Fred VanVleet, he's perfect, but he cannot be your best player. He's got to be your second or your third best player. They need to add a piece. For me, if I'm the Houston Rockets next year, I'm making a move with all the pieces that you have, whether it's Thompson, whether it's Jabari Smith, any one of those pieces, I'm packaging them and I'm sending them to the Phoenix Suns for Kevin Durant, because I need an elite scorer or Green or whoever. And Green is their one piece that they believe is him. Although if you look at the box score tonight, Thompson had 25. Dylan Brooks had 24. Dylan Brooks is one of those guys where he's, basically your 4th best player. He's going to play defense. He's going to hit some shots here and there, but that's about it. They need a real scorer, a guy who can do it every night. And I think Kevin Durant is one of those guys. Someone told me the other day,
Ooh.
Devin Booker. And for me, if you're Phoenix, you never move away from Devin Booker. He's an icon piece. He's a superstar. Devin
I agree
Booker
with
is
that.
a superstar, and you don't move that. Kevin Durant, he's at the he's at the end of the career. He can still put up 25 a night from anywhere. He can still score from anywhere. You bring him into a young team that this year was a number 2 seed. Next year, you bring in Kevin Durant while giving up certain pieces that aren't your superstar pieces, and you have plenty of them. I don't trade Sengun, period, because he's a 20 a night guy. So I don't trade him. I don't move him, and you don't move Fred VanVleet. You move 2 of the younger kids. You move them out. You bring in a Kevin Durant, and I think then you're a real number 2. If you end up at 2, you're a real number 3. You're a real threat. This team, to me, is not a real threat. Like, I don't see them as a real threat, period, as I saw The Grizzlies a couple years back, not a real threat. Like I saw the Thunder last year, not a real threat. So for you to be a real threat, you need a real elite scorer, as Minnesota has as the Thunder have now, which I still don't think they win the next series. But as the other teams have, they have elite scorer. The Rockets do not have one elite player. And if you don't have an elite player, you need to be really good on defense. And in the NBA, if we go back to all the history of time, the only team that has won an NBA title without having an elite scorer was the Detroit Pistons with Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and so on. That team played defense and had enough small pieces. This team doesn't play enough defense for the roster that they have. They have a bunch of young talent, and for the to get to the next level, they need a superstar. Although fading, I think Kevin Durant would be a perfect piece for them.
I think they also go after Giannis for next year.
If that is the thing, if that is the Heat, I agree with you. I think the Heat is another one of those teams that could move to Giannis, to make a Giannis move. Big city, Pat Riley's there. You have a phenomenal head coach. I think Giannis to the Heat makes more sense than Giannis to the Lakers, because Giannis to the Lakers, in reality, when we look at it, can't really happen. And even if it does happen, you end up with the same fucking problem you're going to have this year. You will have no bench.
Mm-hmm.
So
why I can't tell you why can't it happen?
Because when you have look at the teams that are constructed that have actual bench. Okay, the Lakers don't draft well. They don't. Bottom
Come
line.
on, Bronny James was a big pickup.
Let's stop with the Bronny James.
Austin Reeves.
Listen, wait a minute. Let's address the Bronny. Let's address the Bronny, because a lot of people can't believe they wasted a second.
If you think I was serious, you're insane.
No. Obviously. But I know you're like, oh well, fuck, they took Bronny. Listen, in the second round, find a player taken 2 picks before Bronny or 3, and picks after Bronny. None of them are playing. None of them.
Yeah, none of them are doing as good. Yeah, so I don't like the Bronny slander either.
None of them are doing shit. But when we look at the Warriors and you look at their roster, you look at the pieces that they find. Okay, the kid Pozinski or whatever, he's starting now. He's a phenomenal player. They have, they find pieces. The Thunder, they find guys who play defense, can shoot the 3, all of that. The Lakers don't have that. And when
Austin Reeves.
They saw what Austin Reeves done in Game 3. We've seen what
you got to give him credit for getting Austin Reeves. You got to give him credit for that. That is a
wonderful.
Find. That is a find.
They have a find, and they need to move that find to the bench. That man needs to move to the bench. Okay, and when JJ Redick realizes that he will be your best option off the bench, you might have an actual chance in the series. But he cannot be on the floor starting the game, because then you have nothing coming off of the bench. So even if you brought in Giannis, and you have to trade away Reeves to bring in Giannis, you have to trade away Ryu to bring in Giannis. So you have 3 max players. You will not have a bench. It just won't happen.
I thought Giannis could opt out after this year.
Even if he opts out, you still need to remove those contracts to bring him in. Reeves, there's multiple contracts that you need to move to bring out a max player, and you will be left with absolutely nothing. You will be left with absolutely nothing, and you will end up and you have nothing now. But you will have. But even if you had Giannis,
you have less than
nothing.
You
have less of nothing.
you have less of nothing, and still, even if you bring in Giannis, you will not have a bench. And when we look at these teams, I already alluded to the bench scoring. When you see the bench, you have none. You don't have any. You don't have bench scoring, and you don't have defense. You have nobody who can play defense. You don't have a 3 and D guy. You don't have. So you don't have a big that can protect the paint. If you brought in Giannis, you think Giannis wants to sit there and guard the 5? You think Giannis wants to guard the Joker?
Not all game.
No, not all game long. Fuck no. You think Giannis wants to sit there and guard Rudy Gobert? No, he's not going to do it. You don't have one. So the Lakers are missing way too many things, and people fall in love with the LeBron and Luka. Look at the other teams that have 2 or 3 superstars. Look at the way the rest of the roster is put together. Look at the Boston Celtics. They have Tatum and Brown, but look at everything. They have Porzingis, so you can say they have a big 3. Look at the rest of the team. the rest of the bench. They had the 6th man of the year this year. They have guys off the bench who can score the basketball and also defend. And I'm talking about shoot the three. They can shoot the three.
Yes.
Right now, you need to be able to shoot the three.
It's what the game has evolved to.
That's just what it is. You need to be able to play defense and shoot the three. In the playoffs, you have to be able to shoot. You have to be able to play some sort of defense. You have to be able to score off the bench, and you have to be able to shoot the three. And the Lakers do none of those things for the most part. None of them. They attempt to shoot threes, but they don't play defense. They don't play defense. They've lost 2 of these games in the 4th quarter. They've given up leads. They've had leads. They've been in the game. They've had tie games in the 4th. And they haven't been able to finish. Why haven't you been able to finish? Because your roster is not deep enough. And the blame will go to LeBron James when you have the 3rd best player in the league, according to many people. On that team, we're still going to blame LeBron. That's what people are going to do. I'm saying we because it's just what people are going to say, not me, because I watch the fucking games. And if you literally watch this Lakers series and you believe that they're losing because of LeBron James, then you just hate LeBron James,
just,
period.
Yeah, you're just blinded by the hate. And you know what, Rafa? I hate to say it, but that's like 75% of Los Angeles.
Oh, of course, because he's not Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And that's why they hate him, because he's not and it's at the end of the day, when you watch, if you've watched these playoffs, they're not losing because of him. Game 3, Luka was awful. I know he was sick. He was awful. They should have won game 3. Game 4, they couldn't close out. Why couldn't they close out? Because JJ decided not to use anybody off the bench in the second half. Like
they just don't seem to have any structure, man. Like that's the worst part.
They
Texas, played Ryan. What's the narrative? Because we're sort of in this cocoon. You put on sports radio. That's all they talk about. Do you feel like that's the narrative nationally? Like this is LeBron is going to get the heat for this?
Yeah, LeBron will always get the heat for everything. That's just how it goes at this point, right? Like, and it would be, and it's the same. It would be the same way for the Warriors. Steph Curry is the face of that team. So whoever's the face of that team,
Steph Curry never gets heat though. He's never gotten heat.
True.
Because Steph, it kind of speaks to the same thing that we talked about with Shedeur, the bravado, the in your face of your persona. Steph Curry is a likable champion.
He's a likable champion because he beat LeBron. That's the thing. If you watch, by the way, if you watch game 4 of the Rockets and Warriors, the Warriors are up 1, and Curry misses a runner, a shot that he's made plenty of times, and he misses that shot. The ball, Houston rebounds the ball. Houston doesn't end up scoring. If Houston ends up scoring, by the way, with a great defensive play by Draymond on Sengun, if they end up scoring there and they lose the game, nobody will ever say they lost that game because Curry missed a wide open runner from 7 feet away from the basket. They'll never say it. But God forbid LeBron does that, and that will always be the narrative with Curry. Curry beat LeBron, and that's why he will be held up in a pedestal.
Yeah, but the narrative is that because of what LeBron adds himself to. It's why people always say it's LeBron's team. It was LeBron's team in Cleveland. It was LeBron's way in Miami, even though that was D Wade's team. It's LeBron's team in LA as a Laker. And what happens in that front? That's why when that Luka trade happened, and everybody was like, "What do you mean LeBron didn't know about this?" Come on, dude. Like, how many other times?
I don't believe that, Ryan.
I don't believe.
Yeah, but here's
I'll tell
whether
you
you believe it or not.
I'll tell you why real quick, and then you can go on. For me, if I'm LeBron James and watching this series, there is no way that if you ask LeBron, and he's not, you can't ask him publicly because he's not going to answer this, obviously. But in a tight circle,
or he'll lie about it.
He'll lie about it. I'm sure if you in a tight circle and you ask LeBron if you wanted to have AD or Luka, in watching what he's had to do in this playoff series by guarding fucking Gobert, by playing almost inside the key for most of the time on the defensive end, he's down in the paint for most of the game. Do you think he wouldn't prefer to have AD down there instead of himself at 40 years old? Of course he would.
I don't, because having Luka Luka is now expected to be the finisher.
But they're not even getting to finish. They're not even
No,
getting to
there's
finish.
not-
They're
yeah,
not even
there's
getting
nothing
the
to
they've been
finish.
right there.
finish.
They've been right there.
Yeah, but there's nothing to finish. But
There's
like,
nothing to finish. They haven't had
but
the
that's the
opportunity
thing,
to
right?
finish the game.
and that's what I was saying. That's why when you look at that Luka trade, right? Everybody is like, wait, what do you mean LeBron didn't know about it? If a trade happened with the Warriors, they're like, well, yeah, Steph didn't know. Like, we did what we were supposed to do in the front office and let the player play. LeBron has been somebody that has had conversations with the front office of who he wants and how things are going to go and this, that, whatever. I mean, let's truly think about it. JJ Redick is their coach. What was JJ Redick doing before he was the Lakers coach?
Yeah, but
A
if you
podcast with
watch,
LeBron.
wait. When you
So you're trying to tell me that there was no
Oh,
sway?
no. There was influence, but JJ was up for an Orlando job a couple years ago. Okay. So when you listen to JJ Redick call games for ESPN for the last handful of years, okay, and he interviewed for the Orlando job. When you listen to him call games, it reminded me, and I said it before they hired him, to me, it reminded me of listening to Hubie Brown, a former phenomenal NBA head coach, okay, back in his time. For me, when I listen to JJ, that's how I translated it, like a Hubie Brown type commentator, where he understood the game. Now,
Yeah, but
JJ came.
But Hubie went from being a coach to being a commentator, correct? Not the other way around.
Right. No, of course.
True.
But
True.
when you listen to it, when you listen to JJ talk, when you listen to him speak about the NBA, about understanding this, that, you can tell that he understands the game a little bit more than a lot of other guys.
Fine. That's fine. If you listen to my wrestling commentary, you would understand that I know a little bit more than just any other guy, but I'm not going to go coach Sonny to a national championship. Like, there's a very big difference between knowing your shit and being able to talk about it and then being able to put the players in the right place and having them execute.
Go ahead.
So for me, I think JJ Redick is an incredible basketball mind, but from what we've seen this year, I believe he's a guy you bring in for his perspective, not a guy that should be running your whole team, right? For me, he'd be a front office guy any day of the week, not an X's and O's guy. He knows the X's and O's like the back of his hand, but to get a team to execute, and you even said, I mean, they don't have the bench, they don't have the guys, whatever else. Maybe he would be doing better, so I shouldn't dock him because he doesn't have the pieces in the puzzle to do what he needs to do. But from what we've seen, playing all his guys, a 40-year-old LeBron James and the guy who was deemed the most out of shape in the NBA, all fourth quarter, like, come on, you have to be smarter than that.
No,
especially
you're going to take bumps and bruises as a rookie head coach. Obviously,
for sure.
Obviously, we know that he did a very good job in this regular season. They ended up with the 3 seed, right?
Which is probably better than what people expected.
When you look at this roster, to me, watching LeBron for his entire life, for his career, all the moves that he's made as a player to bring in other players to help him in Miami, in Cleveland, more notably when he went back to Cleveland, that's when I think he had the biggest impact on the roster. He brought in guys that were able to, Kyle Korver, Mike Miller, those types of guys. This right
here is exactly why LeBron will always get the heat that Steph Curry will not, because of your entire argument right now. Of course. LeBron went here. He's bringing these guys with him to win. To be on his roster.
Yes.
Steph Curry doesn't do that, which is why he will not get the same type of shit if he misses this or if he misses that. It's because LeBron is playing with the chessboard. Steph Curry is not, and that's what everybody sees.
But this roster has, to me, when I look at this roster has nothing where LeBron said, I want this guy except for Bronny James. That's it. This roster doesn't have any of the style of players that LeBron has been accustomed to for years. They don't have any of them. Not one. There is not one guy on this team that can shoot the 3 like Kyle Korver or Mike Miller or any of Ray Allen at the end. Like, none of those guys fit to the mold of LeBron as a teammate. So to me, when I look at this roster, I can't blame LeBron for this roster because it's not put together the way that for him that would benefit him. I think if they had a 3-point shooter.
But again, you just said it, right? No one on this team is fit to play with LeBron. To play
Yes, which is why I
his-
can't blame him for this loss.
Yeah, but it's fit to be his scheme, is what it is. Nobody's saying that about Steph
This
Curry
scheme-
ever.
They don't need to, because that scheme that Steph Curry's in, it has the same pieces for the most part the entire time. They have all guys, every single guy on that team that they have, the Warriors, they've kept it the same around Steph Curry. A guy who can play defense, a big who can come off the bench and rebound, and 3 or 4 guys that can shoot the three. That's what it's always been for Steph Curry. Steph Curry, like your boy Michael Jordan, has always played with one of the 4 best defensive players of all time. When has LeBron had that on his team? Consistent. Never. Michael Jordan played with Scottie Pippen, who is arguably the best defensive player of all time, in my opinion.
After Michael Jordan.
Oh my God, are you fucking serious?
No. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
No.
But let me say
hold
this.
on, Eddie. Hold on. I'm not.
Is LeBron known for defense, or is he known for scoring?
He's known for all above. All of.
So was Michael Jordan.
When? Please tell me, Ryan.
First team
Eddie, stop.
He was first team defense.
Wait a second.
The man was first team defense.
Wait. When the playoffs started, okay. When the playoffs started, and at the end of the series, when the series was over, who led the team in assists for the Chicago Bulls? Was it Michael Jordan or no? No, right? Who led the team in rebounds? Was it ever Michael Jordan? No. Who led the team in steals? Was it ever Michael Jordan? It was Scottie Pippen. No, it was never Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan is not one of even the 4 best defense, not even one of the 5 best defensive players of all time. If you had to guard a guy one-on-one to end the game, and you have to choose a defender, you're picking Michael Jordan over Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Draymond Green, Charles Bart, Kevin Garnett? You're picking Michael Jordan over one of those guys? You got to be kidding me.
I see your point, but this is the Achilles heel. Is that Michael Jordan didn't disappear late in games like LeBron James has.
LeBron James disappeared in game 3, according to Skip, after scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter. LeBron, at 40 years old, your idol Michael Jordan had to be brought into a game at the end of the season, down 20, the final game of the season, so they can foul him, so they can shoot 2 free throws to end the season averaging 20 points. That is your Michael Jordan. Your Michael Jordan that never led his team in anything but points. That is your best defensive player of all time. Never led his fucking team in anything but points. In anything but points. Michael Jordan has...
What did LeBron have to do to break Michael Jordan's records?
I'll tell you what. Play
for how long? But he didn't play longer. But he didn't play longer. If you give me more years to shoot something, if you give me more years to do something, I'm going to do it.
Listen. Michael Jordan averaged 29 points a game for his career, okay? On 22 shots. Almost 23 shots. LeBron James averages 27 plus a game for his career, okay? This is just averages. We can pull out, we don't need the total games played. We can go by averages, okay? Because numbers don't fucking lie. Now, LeBron James' shooting percentage is better than Michael Jordan's by about 4%, I believe, maybe 5, okay? So, LeBron James averages 27 plus a game. Jordan averages 29 plus a game for his career, okay? Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan took 2 more shots than LeBron James. According to LeBron James' shooting percentage, if he takes 1 more shot a game, he will have a career average greater than Michael Jordan's. But we're talking about LeBron James, a guy who has twice as many assists as your GOAT, your all-around best player. Not all-around best player. He was the best scorer. He took the most shots on his team. That's what he did. He didn't out-rebound any of his teammates like LeBron did. Oh, wait, in the NBA Finals, he out-rebounded all of the players. All of the players. The entire fucking NBA Finals was LeBron James. LeBron James finished second in Finals MVP voting with what people are saying. If he wins a title this year, he could be mentioned as one of the GOATs of all time in Steph Curry. He was in that series.
sure.
He finished
sure.
third in finals voting. He finished third in finals voting.
Well, Kevin Durant was on the team.
No, it was not. It was Andre Iguodala who was finals MVP in a sport.
Oh, okay.
In a sport where 99% of the time, the best player on the team wins the finals MVP. We saw it with Kobe Bryant when we know Paul Gasol should have won it against the Celtics. We saw it with the Rockets when Hakeem was the MVP. We saw it with Michael Jordan when he's the finals MVP. We saw it with LeBron James when he won 4 titles and he went to Dwayne Wade's team and he was the finals MVP and it wasn't even close. So when you're sitting there and you're going to try and tell me that Michael Jordan is a better defender than Scottie Pippen, what proves it? Not a fucking thing. The other thing, the year that LeBron finished second in defensive player of the year, you know who defensive player of the year was? Marc Gasol. You know that Marc Gasol didn't finish first team all defense, yet he won defensive player of the year? Because the NBA could not give the praise to LeBron James like they couldn't give it to him, like they cannot give the MVP to Joker every goddamn year, knowing damn well he deserved it. The year that Derrick Rose wins the MVP, whose numbers were better? The year that James Harden wins the MVP, whose numbers were better? LeBron James every fucking time. This year, Joker averaged a triple-double. Nobody gives a fuck because we're going to give it to SGA. So, because they cannot give it to Joker. They couldn't give it to LeBron, but they gave it to Jordan. The year that Hakeem fucking dominated the league, they gave it to Jordan. That year, Hakeem should have been Defensive Player of the Year. They gave it to Michael Jordan. Look at what Hakeem did. And they gave it to Michael Jordan because they needed a star to uplift after Magic had fucking HIV and Larry Bird threw out his back doing fucking gardening in Indiana. Michael Jordan never beat Larry Bird ever. Ever. He didn't beat the Lakers and Kareem. He didn't beat fucking Larry Bird in a goddamn series. He didn't win one playoff series, not one, without Scottie Pippen. Not one. He won one game. What has LeBron James without Dwayne Wade? Without all of these players? He's always been able to win without them. Oh, he just gets the next best player. Anthony Davis wasn't the next best player, and he still won a title. He won with Kyrie and Kevin Love. Oh, Kyrie saved them. No, the play before that saved them. The block that LeBron James made. Ray Allen saved them. No, they were down 5. LeBron hits a 3 to cut it to 2. Ginobili misses a 3. That's what it was. The game goes to overtime. What did LeBron do? How about game 7 where Chris Bosh scores a big fucking 0? Big fucking 0.
Rafa's going to go on and give the whole history of the NBA.
I don't need to give it. I don't need to give it.
But let me ask you this, Rafa. You're saying, you're not spitting any falsehoods. You're giving stats and this and that. But let me ask you this. Then why is it then the narrative from NBA legends, and you ask all NBA guys that their GOAT is still Michael Jordan and LeBron gets so much disrespect? I'm asking because what do you think it is?
I'm sorry, Eddie. Repeat that. My phone was ringing.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, why do you think it is that you ask NBA guys, in that era, even now, you will get, and media, that Jordan is revered as the GOAT and LeBron gets a lot of disrespect? What is it that sways the narrative?
Okay, the announcement, right? The whole thing with Jim Gray when he announced that he was going to Miami. That's one. Okay?
The YMCA thing.
The YMCA thing. That's one. And so people, he sold out and he went to Miami. Well, he joined. Miami wasn't a team. They had Dwayne Wade and added Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh, the same Chris Bosh that was never an All-NBA player on the Miami Heat. The same Chris Bosh that was All-NBA once in 2008, second team. So he wasn't even the best power forward in the league. So the other thing is that Michael Jordan, for everyone who's 50 plus, he's the most unbelievable thing they had ever seen because it was the first time they've seen it. When you watch the NBA today, there's plenty of guys that do what Michael Jordan did, whether it was in the air or whatever. Okay. Michael Jordan shot more shots than anyone ever. And they hate LeBron because they can't see themselves not crowning Michael Jordan anymore and giving it to LeBron. If you sat down Michael Jordan, and I'm not talking about Michael Jordan 6-0. Michael Jordan was a better winner than LeBron because he had more killer instinct. LeBron doesn't have killer instinct because that's not who he is. LeBron James is the all-time leader in points And people don't consider him a good scorer. And he's the all-time leader in points. He had 27 points a game for career. And people don't but he's not a scorer. Oh, people don't believe in that. LeBron James has 11,000 plus assists because he makes the right play. He doesn't have the killer instinct that Kobe and Michael Jordan have. That's the difference with LeBron that people don't like.
I think you fucking nailed it. We want to hear the stories of LeBron going out, hearing someone talk shit about him, and then them saying, "Just wait, I'm gonna do fucking 45 on you tonight."
But that's not who he is. That's not who he is.
That's why he's not considered the GOAT.
Well,
but the thing is, right? Like on top of that, right? Like I'm not gonna. I don't need him to say I'm gonna go out, score 45. Look up at the scoreboard. There's 45 points. I don't need any of that, right? Like, yeah, to me, Jordan's the guy. Yeah, I'm a '90s kid. I grew up. Michael Jordan is that dude. Ton of shoes. You can see him behind me. Whatever else, right? But for what it's worth, when Michael Jordan there wasn't the same type of hype for Michael Jordan coming into the NBA. And you can't say that there wasn't.
Not at all.
LeBron was
not at all.
And that's why people look at Michael Jordan the way that they do, because LeBron came in, he's already on magazine covers, he's driving a Hummer, he's got Chosen One tattooed on him. He's supposed to be the next big thing.
Think about what you're saying, Ryan. Imagine to come into a sport with all that pressure and you lived up to all of it and then some. That is more impressive.
But the thing is, I can give him credit for that. However, on the opposite side of that, people don't see that he lived up to that, because when they look at Michael Jordan, just listen. Because when they look at Michael Jordan, they say Michael Jordan came in and had to face adversity of Bird, Magic, all these different guys, right?
And never beat him.
And never beat him. Correct. Right. But fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying that that's bad, because I consider these guys to be some of the all-time greats of all. There's a lot of people that consider Steph Curry to be the greatest shooter of all time, but they don't put him on that same tier of Magic and Bird and all. They don't.
He's right below. He's right below it to a lot of people.
Yes. But during but here's the thing. But during the LeBron era, how many championships did Steph Curry get? And you can take out the ones where he's got Durant. Take those away.
Then he has 2.
Yes, but okay. During the Michael Jordan era of Michael Jordan going to the finals, who else has titles?
Michael Jordan went to the finals. Okay, listen. Michael Jordan went to the finals.
I like Matt's point there.
I'm not seeing Matt's point, but Michael Jordan went. Let me see what Matt's saying. LeBron is 0-1 to Dirk, 1-2 to Duncan, 1-3 to Curry.
But he also beat.
But
he
listen,
beat Barkley. He beat Stockton, Malone.
Barkley didn't beat anyone. Stockton and Malone didn't beat anyone. They didn't beat anyone.
They didn't beat Jordan.
They didn't beat anyone.
They
didn't listen.
They got
Malone
to the
and
finals.
Stockton. Listen, wait. Malone and Stockton didn't beat Hakeem. They didn't beat Hakeem. So they didn't win shit because they couldn't even beat Hakeem when Michael Jordan took a break. Charles Barkley couldn't even beat Hakeem, had to join him and couldn't win with him. Okay? Michael Jordan never beat Larry Bird, period. He won one game, okay? 1-9. The best player of his era was Larry Bird. There is no doubt about it. If he doesn't throw out his back, he's the best player of his era. And guess what? If Larry Bird never throws out his back, guess who's not winning the finals till 94 and doesn't go have to play baseball? Michael Jordan.
I don't think he had to go play baseball, but that's different.
If he never wins those titles, he never leaves to play baseball. Never. Because he didn't win shit. He never beat Detroit. When Detroit was fully healthy, he never beat Detroit. When Detroit was a full roster, Detroit never beat them. He then finally beats them, and Detroit implodes. The next year, they're the 5 seed. The year after that, they're not even in the playoffs. When Michael Jordan wins an NBA Finals, the first NBA Finals, the very next year, the Celtics and Pistons were irrelevant in the league. And for years to come, you're going to tell me that Patrick Ewing never won shit. Michael Jordan left, he still never won. When we look at those players, Patrick Ewing and Charles Barkley, you're going to tell me that Charles Barkley is better than fucking Kevin Garnett? You
No,
really
I'd say
going to tell me that?
No.
You're not
No.
going to tell me that. So, okay, so you're talking about one of the, that was the players in that era. The players in that era were Larry Bird and Mike and Magic Johnson, which, and Kareem, which Michael Jordan never beat.
He had a
beat
couple good
Magic.
teams. The Suns were good. Houston,
Eddie,
they had
none
some
of
good
those.
teams.
Eddie,
But what
none
what I'm saying is during this LeBron era, Steph Curry has titles. During the run that Jordan went on, nobody else won titles. No
He
one.
was 6 years. What do you mean? He played for 15. Do we forget the 15? We
don't
forget the
forget the
9 years.
15.
So there was 9 titles that happened in between Michael Jordan's 6.
Okay.
Teams won.
the-
You know
well,
what?
but
You know what?
The first 7,
The first 7 years, okay,
right?
the first 7 years, and the last 2.
Yeah.
The first 7, he was irrelevant in the league. All he did was score. All he did was shoot. But how can we consider a guy the greatest of all time when he didn't win one playoff series without one player? He never won without Phil Jackson. He never won without Scottie Pippen. He never won with a guy who was the best all-around player said by his head coach. Okay, you can go back to 93 where Phil Jackson says, Michael Jordan's great, Scottie Pippen's our best player. He's the best all-around player on the floor. He did it all.
No one has ever won an
So-
NBA championship without Robin. Nobody.
He
has.
was-
It doesn't
Listen,
happen. It doesn't happen.
The thing is, Michael Jordan had only one Robin. He needed that one Robin to win a playoff series. LeBron James went to an NBA Finals with Boobie Gibson and Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Anderson Varejao and Delonte West, guys that you can't. One of them's homeless. The other one, you couldn't pick him out of a fucking lineup. But Boobie Gibson walks into your house right now. You don't know if to call him Daniel Boobie or fucking Juan. You don't even know who the fuck he is. He led that team to an NBA Finals against a dynasty, against the Spurs. So don't when LeBron's era has been so big and so long that he's there. Of course, there's going to be teams that win in between. The Warriors went and got the second best player in the league to join a 73-win team to beat LeBron James. That's what they did. Who joined? No, they beat him. They beat him. They beat him. Listen, that's what we tend to forget. The 2015 NBA Finals, where LeBron James, it's LeBron James and Matthew Dellavedova. There was no Kyrie. There was no Kevin Love. And LeBron was up 2-1 in that series. David Blatt ran a 7-man rotation in that series. By the time Game 4 came along, they were dead. A team running around with Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry running amok. And Andre Iguodala, who was the finals MVP. That was the team that they beat. The next year, that same roster wins 73 games, 73-9, and they lose a 3-1 series to LeBron. A 3-1 series that Draymond shouldn't have been suspended. He gets suspended, they lose the series. That's what LeBron did. And then that team gets the second best player in the league, a team that was up 3-2 against that Warriors team, which Klay Thompson, Game 6 and Game 7, was the best player on the floor between Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden, Steph Curry, and the boys. And Klay was the best player on that team. That team that almost beat the Warriors to face LeBron again in the finals, Durant joined them. Durant joined that team.
That's why I said take those titles out with Durant because
So we take him out, and Curry has 2 titles, 1 Finals MVP. That's what you're holding it on.
No, it's not what I'm holding it on. I'm saying that when you look at how things went, you have Steph Curry, who is able to win titles against somebody who everyone thought was unbeatable. Everyone thought that LeBron was enough to do it, and he didn't need anybody else. That's what everybody was saying. That's what everyone has always said, is that it's LeBron's team. LeBron will will us to this. LeBron will will us to that. That's why. And and I'm going right back to our original point, right? We got into so many fucking tangents. It's ridiculous. But back to the original point of why LeBron gets shit when Curry doesn't, because it's always the whole thing is always about LeBron. It's always been about LeBron.
Because he's that good. That's the thing. He's that good. Curry's
no one is
always
ever
that-
going to refute that LeBron is good.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm never going to refute that. I will never refute that. The reason LeBron gets shit is because his hand is in every cookie jar in every organization he goes to. That's
Because
what
it-
I'm saying.
Because
I gotta-
what happened?
Finish your point, Rafa, and then I have a final question because we've been kind of going first.
Because when 2007 hit and they went to the finals and he took that garbage ass team to the finals, and then the Celtics come in the very next year and put together that roster. Okay, that roster that the Celtics put together was the best team in the league. It was the best team that we had ever seen, realistically. Besides the '96 Bulls, that next Celtics team, and maybe the Lakers. Some of the Lakers teams.
85, 86.
Yeah, but when you looked at that Celtics team, with Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, right?
That team was ridiculous.
That team, still to this day, never lost a playoff series. They all played. That team comes in the very next year after LeBron in 2007 goes to the finals. So for 3 years, you had that Celtics team, although they got hurt twice. That Celtics team, what was LeBron going to do? You had to join another team because you weren't going to beat them, and Cleveland wasn't going to make a move to even equal, not even equal, just a little piece of what the Celtics were doing, a little bit, and he never got it. He never got it, so he had to get involved. Jordan never had to go through that because he got Scottie Pippen. He had the best defender in the league, period, ever. And
guys wanted to join. Guys wanted to join his team.
So
they drafted Scottie Pippen.
Eddie started off this whole kind of like conversation with like the social like perspective of LeBron, right? Like, why isn't he deemed like the best of all time, even though statistically he is? So there's this video going around of Anthony Edwards just absolutely bullying LeBron James towards the end of the game.
That wasn't towards the end of the game. The game was 50-45. It was after
mid-game.
It wasn't right. It was in the second quarter on a play where if you watch, LeBron has to come up to press Edwards, and Edwards dumps it right down to Rudy for a dunk, and then he's pushing him down court. And he's punking him, bro.
So
listen,
he's punking
NBA
him.
players, it's not punking them. NBA players push each other all game long. And actually,
he looked like he was getting bitched a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
The second time around, Anthony Edwards gets called for a foul doing that. That's a foul.
I'm just saying, like, we're talking about like
that's a foul you take though.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So people are like, "Oh, this is why LeBron is the GOAT. If Kobe or MJ, nobody would ever do this to him. Like they would turn it on and like go to a different game." I just want to see what you would think.
40.
What you're thinking about that?
LeBron's 40. He's not going to do that. This is what all of these young kids and all of these old timers who swore they watched Michael Jordan play on random Tuesday nights in February. You didn't, because you didn't have access to it unless you were in Chicago or LA.
Bullshit.
That is it. Eddie, stop.
We can watch
Eddie,
games.
Eddie,
WGN.
you are not. Listen.
No, WGN.
Eddie,
we can watch Cup games and Bulls games.
For
It's
me,
weird.
Eddie and Richard Dice get eliminated from this conversation
Yes.
because of the shit that you guys were doing out on the streets. Out of the shit that you guys were doing on the streets during those years, you were not staying at home to watch the Chicago Bulls. When my take on LeBron is there's no doubt about it that Jordan was a better winner, a more killer instinct like Kobe Bryant. There is no doubt about that. I don't dispute that to anybody. You can never, I'll never dispute that with anyone. But on a basketball court, to play and guard all 5 positions on a given night at the age of 30, 31, 29, 28, and understand what that team is doing, and you hear it, whether it's from Jeff Teague or Giannis or DeMar DeRozan or even the young kid Cam Johnson, who will tell you the story about the first time he came into a game with LeBron, in Phoenix, and he says, LeBron knew that I was getting the ball, and all he thought was, damn, how did he know I was getting it? Because I never get the ball. That's his words, by the way, was Cam Johnson. So when you see all that, you guys didn't see that. People don't watch that. People are watching LeBron now, which is why I get upset with Jay. You can't tell. You didn't watch LeBron. You didn't watch LeBron in Cleveland the second time around or the first time around. There is nobody. You can't argue that there's a better player all time than maybe 2018 LeBron James. In one season, he was phenomenal. And then there's LeBron. LeBron's so good he has had 3 Hall of Fame careers. That's the thing. How do you have 3 Hall of Fame careers?
That was like Tom Brady.
Sounds like Tom Brady, 100%. Sounds like Tom Brady. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. My take, that's my thing on LeBron. I just believe he's the best player all around. He has killer instinct. He's not number one. He's not. It's just plain and simple. But he was a better rebounder than Jordan. He was a better passer than Jordan. He's to me, a better all-around help defender because Jordan couldn't guard a 5, period, ever on his life, ever. Jordan couldn't shoot the 3. We've seen it. You've seen the videos on Instagram. Ryan, don't make me send them to you. Craig Elo's playing like 3 feet off. Come on, man. Come on,
he
baby.
wasn't a 3-point shooter.
Because
I said that before. I said before when everybody tried to make the Anthony Edwards Jordan comparison, I said Anthony Edwards is a better 3-point shooter than Jordan ever was.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant was a better 3-point shooter than Michael Jordan.
Yeah. But I mean at that the 3-point shot has evolved into being what it is today. Like, yes, back then it was a dagger, but like now that's let's fucking I'll take it here. That's the reason that a lot of people love what Caitlin Clark does because they could see her doing the same shit that Steph Curry was doing. That's where a lot of the fanfare came from, is because they were like, "Ooh, she shoots from long way away, just like Steph
100%.
Curry does." Oh, that brings me to the game.
Women can. The thing is,
none of them could.
It
was something new. Now it's very different. When somebody brings something new to the game, like Steph Curry brings to the game with his ability to shoot, that's why the 3-point shot is what it is. Right. I saw a video of literally just earlier this week where Kobe was talking about the triangle offense and how everyone knew that they played within a structure and that there were always counters, that anytime that somebody was sitting here, there was a counter here, there was a counter there. And that's what him and Phil and that's what Jordan had. That's what both of these guys had. He said, nowadays, everybody's looking to drive and dish. I turned the damn game on and that's the first fucking thing that I saw. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this video is from years and years back. And I turned on the game the other night and that was the first thing that I saw. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous where the structure of the game has completely changed because Steph Curry has become that guy where he sits around the 3-point line. And the things he does in practice, you guys don't know, I have a friend that is on staff for the Warriors. He'll probably be the head coach of their G League team next year. He was moved up this year to learn from that staff. So he's on staff. He says the things that Steph Curry does in practice are insane. Like him hitting the shots in games is nothing compared to what he does in practice. And it's that transition and what he's brought to the game that is why offenses are not what they used to be. It's why everybody looks at Luka and says, well, Luka doesn't play any defense. Well, let's call it what it is. It's a low level that he even has to get to be very good at playing defense in this year's in the game right now. It is a very low bar, and he's not even hitting it right now. So that has to change. First of all,
I disagree with that statement because the amount of elite shooters that you have now, it's harder to play defense. I'm sorry, it's so much harder to play defense because back then. You needed to play defense from 15 feet from the basket. Now, for you to be an elite defender, you have to be able to play from 23 feet from the basket. It's a different defense. You're not going to be chasing around because everyone can shoot. Literally, you can have 5 guys on the floor. Doesn't matter the size. They will all be able to shoot the 3. They will all be able to shoot.
Lakers can't find fucking one of them, Rafa?
100% right. The Lakers cannot find them. There is no doubt about it. There's very few exceptions, like Rudy Gobert and all the centers that the Lakers seem to fucking find.
Last question to round it off tonight. If the Lakers, knock on wood, hopefully they don't lose tonight, but if they lose, will this be LeBron's last game?
No.
In the NBA?
Yeah, where else would he play?
Oh, no. No, I don't think so.
No, because he's not done yet.
No, he's not done and LeBron will tell you when he's done because LeBron doesn't want to be what Kobe was at the end. LeBron's not going to come in and gimp around for 40 games and average 17. LeBron's not going to be at the end what Michael Jordan was on a team where it was relevant. LeBron's not going to do that. It was bad. LeBron's not going to do that. LeBron is put it this way: if LeBron when he comes back next year, if he misses like 50 games for injury. And he doesn't play in the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, which they should because they have Luka, I think he would retire after that.
I'll say this.
I don't think he's going to come in and mope around.
LeBron, when he retires, he will be an owner of an NBA team, at least partial, within 3 years. Within 3 years.
He's probably already working on it now.
Oh,
I'm
for sure,
sure.
he is.
Yeah.
For sure he is. For sure he is.
By the way, tonight they're down 7 so far. They're in the with 8 minutes left, and LeBron has already played 14 minutes. So out of a possible 20 minutes, I'm sorry, out of a possible 16 minutes, he's already played 14.
Yeah, Conley just hit. Oh yeah, you're ahead of me.
They're down 7.
Yeah,
Rafa's
they're
always
down
ahead
7.
somehow. I don't know.
I will say this, right? Like, as far as for me, Michael Jordan resonated with my era because it was the mindset of the game and perseverance and getting stronger and overcoming demons and all that other shit, right?
Mhm.
As well as what he earned to be the persona that he is. I think that a lot of people will look at LeBron, and what people do now is every athlete, and we talked about it with Shador and how there's a camera in his face all the time. Athletes are expected to be more than just a basketball player. It's why people get pissed off at LeBron if he doesn't have a statement to say on China or whatever else was going on at that one point, right? Whereas Michael Jordan didn't always have that, right? Michael didn't make statements.
He didn't give a shit.
Exactly, but he never
On
had
purpose.
statements like that. But however, people didn't also expect him to have those things either. It was not an expectation. It was not
No,
an
and I don't-
expectation
I don't
for those
like that
guys
ab-
to
I don't-
be better, more than basketball players.
And I don't like that about LeBron. I don't like that
I-
because for me, you can't relate to an everyday person because you're
Exactly.
not an everyday person. You can never relate to us. You can.
But
you
I
take
will
your
say
kid-
this, right?
Go ahead.
As a role model, I think LeBron is one of the best because he has stayed out of trouble. And I mean, if there's anything that does go on in his personal life, you don't know about it. It's his same kids, same wife, everything else, where you've got Anthony Edwards that's looking to pay, what is it, like 1.2 million so that he doesn't have to pay up front. So he doesn't have to pay, like that's the thing. That's why, like, LeBron being the face of the league, that's why they're looking for somebody else to be the face of the league right now, because they know LeBron's about to pass that torch and they're not going to have somebody to do that, right? Like, it ain't gonna be Cooper Flag. I'm sorry, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna be Cooper Flag. It's not gonna be. They want it to be Wemby, but he's an international guy. That's not gonna happen. That's why they're like, man, can Anthony Edwards do it? For you know, I can have my takes on whether he's the greatest basketball, whether he's the GOAT or whatever else. For me, it's more than basketball. You know, on the court, I can't stand his acting, his flopping, all that other bullshit. I can't stand that in the game at all. But I will never take anything away from LeBron as a player. But he has been an admirable face of the league that they have certainly needed for a very long time. And during his time, Kobe has certainly been that guy as well. Shaq was in there for a time. There's been a number of other guys that have been there, but LeBron has also had his time of being the face where there's no scandals, there's no bullshit. And I think that's commendable for what kids need to look up to. So from that perspective, I think it's awesome. But from the other perspective of when we look at Jordan, we're like, Jordan was out partying. He's got the flu game. He's gambling. He's this, he's that. For guys like us, that's like, this dude was giving you, 50 and 15, and he was going out and gambling, like crazy the night before. That's why he's got some GOAT status to me. But all that being said, LeBron is a phenomenal basketball player. I love the fact that he's, built a school. I love the fact that he's got other ventures. He's able to do a whole bunch of shit, and he's a role model for his own kids. I have zero issue with any sort of nepotism that anybody wants to throw at him for getting Bronny James into the league, because we see that bullshit all the time, every single place. So LeBron is a model, is a pretty model athlete, if you ask me, in a time where we have another Georgia player getting some fucking reckless driving offense every other week. So give me a LeBron James to be the face of a league for over 20 years any day. But for me, as somebody growing up watching Jordan, that will always be my GOAT because of what he brought mentality wise and what he brought to the game.
Yeah, I don't question that. I don't question any of that.
Yeah, That's well
solid.
You'll never have me question Michael Jordan.
that is
on
well said.
Well
Guys,
said, and good way to wrap it up.
We have done it 2 weeks in a row. We've gone 3 hours, man.
Jeez.
And honestly, I love it. I love it. I love the conversations. I've drank probably 2 glasses of wine too many, but again, had a terrific time. Thank you. We had a ton of interaction. Thanks, Matt Rocha, Will Haney, Fred Lewis, guest host. He was amazing. Who else? Anyone have any last words? Eddie Money, last words?
I don't know. Just sports is going great. So this is the great topics for us every single week, and I look forward to every Wednesday now.
It's been really good. Ryan, again, you deliver, man. People love you. I get text messages on the side while the show's going. Like, Ryan's really good. So I appreciate you taking it. I appreciate you taking the time to be on our show. I know it's a risk for you. Rafa, everyone either loves you. You're the polarizing guy. You are the LeBron James of two nobodies, man. People love you or hate you.
I hope LeBron has team Rafa.
Yeah, I need to start a LeBron channel. That's what I gotta do, man. Fuck.
Yeah, me, on the other hand, I have still not introduced myself from episode 1. And that's the way I like it. I am the nobody in this group. I choose to stay that way. Guys, Ryan, any last words?
No. I mean, I appreciate you guys. It's always fun coming on here. A couple things that you don't know, Eddie. So Intermat Podcast will have 1 episode left, and we are going to be moving to our own platform. So It's in the making. We will have our own wrestling show.
Nice.
We're thinking of names and stuff right now. We're actually meeting again this week to figure that out. And then I will have a second show with another wrestling entity that won't be just wrestling based. It'll be all sports. I'll be interviewing coaches and athletes on there. So when that happens, you'll see the announcement, and it's a really cool show, working on logos and stuff right now. So a couple new things that are going to be coming. Athletes to Athletes is always going to be coming. Check out this week's show. It's going to be next week's show. Going to be coming out is the topic is youth sports, and we had a guy that is a youth sports coach, and we talked a lot about that father and son, or that parent and kid aspect.
Yeah.
That was before the Tyrese Halliburton thing came out, honestly. But we talked a lot about that. It's a really good conversation. That'll be out next week. So I really, like I said, I appreciate you guys. Rafa, as much shit as I give you, complete, nothing but complete love. Love your takes. I love that we disagree, but we do it respectfully. We don't go too crazy. Always love getting fired up at everybody and having some fun talking some sports. So anytime you guys need me, I'm happy to come on, happy to talk some sports. Eddie sends me texts all the time and ask me different questions and stuff. So we'll always keep talking. You guys got my number, so shoot me any sort of messages. Or, we can always talk sports. But as always, I appreciate you, fellas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan, for coming on, brother. Appreciate it.
Rafa, last words.
Oh, Lakers are down already, bang.
Only down by 3.
It's 6 now.
We're down by 6.
Down by 6.
My last words. Shout out to Saeed Valencia. Never a doubt in my mind that he could beat Kyle, and he's 100% on his way to being a world champion, Olympic champ. And I'm going to see his dad tonight. He's coming over. So
Cali boys off to Oklahoma State, 2 of them.
That's right, man. So we got to get him on. We got to get him on, or you got to get him on, or whatever it is. But again, thank you to everybody. Love you
guys,
and we'll see you next week, man. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.